Bielsa, who's also suspended tonight, don't forget. The coach was sent off too. But you have an idea why he's stuck to the game plan.
It's obvious they've had enormous criticism back in Argentina after the last result. Now I think the message he's sending out is quite simple. Okay guys, you got yourselves into this, you get yourselves out of it. I think it's a clever and correct thing to do.
Bobby Gould?
No more to add to that.
Here's Uruguay for you then, Bobby. 3 changes to the Uruguayan lineup tonight. Magallanes, excuse me, back from suspension. He replaces Garcia. Vespa and Del Campo are in place of Pili Pauskas and Pacheco. Bobby's thoughts on that in just a moment. Now, in the meantime, here's the Group C table, with Colombia superbly, as we've just seen, clinching maximum points from their group games. Uruguay start tonight in 2nd place, with Argentina in 3rd place in the group. 3 points apiece. Argentina's goal difference slightly worse, but here's the catch. The team finishing 2nd in Group C will go on to play Brazil. Argentina say they don't fear Brazil. What do you think, Graham?
Well, I think their recent track record suggests that they've nothing to fear, but I think in an ideal world, if they're given the choice, they wouldn't want to play them. I mean, the way I see it, it will be a very interesting game. They will have no shame in not trying to win the game tonight.
What does it work with the individual players when they have professional pride to play for?
Paul, what you have to remember, we're talking about a Latin temperament, South American temperament, and theirs is all about the end result, about getting there, and the manner to get there is not really important as long as you get there. Different for our standards. You know, you couldn't see a British team or any British players going out there and giving less than 100%, but I think tonight you might see that.
England, Scotland, it wouldn't happen, would it?
It couldn't happen. It couldn't happen. Maybe. I hope we're wrong, but I think it's going to be a very interesting game for the viewers tonight to watch.
What do you think, Bobby?
I just have a feeling that no international footballer wants to lose a football game, and under those guidelines, the first 5 minutes will tell you everything, whether they're up for it or not, in the desire to win the ball, in the desire to hustle, in the desire to put pressure on, and that'll be the intriguing part for me at the first five minutes out there.
Argentina have traditionally, as Martin Tyler's mentioned already tonight, in recent times they've done pretty well against Brazil. Does that give you the reason to believe that Argentina will say, we're going to have to beat Brazil to win this somewhere along the line, let's make it the quarter-final?
With the new coach in charge, he wants to make an impression back home as well. And if there has been criticism, and you've had other coaches in this tournament taking a lot of criticism and saying to the players, look, we've got to dig ourselves out of a hole here. No matter which way we go about it, we've got to make sure that we're playing to the best of our ability. And you've seen how many police are surrounding the ground.
This is
it's a big, you know, and to think that Uruguay have only got 3 million people in their country. How many people live in Argentina? And it's a David Goliath game.
Any suggestion for you, Bobby, that Uruguay might be good enough in any event to spoil Argentina's party, remembering the way Uruguay have really had to sit and suffer over a long period, and seeing Argentina and Brazil do so well on the world stage? Uruguay haven't been doing that. They can't afford many more failures, can they?
Well, in this competition, you know, that's all the South American countries, and then 2 invitations, you know, so they're always going to be in there on the biannual scenario, and I think that's what we perhaps miss in this country as well at times, is playing England against Wales.
Local rivals,
yeah, the local rivalry, and that to me will identify the passion and the commitment, and I think you'll get more than you expect tonight.
Martin Palermo created villainy for himself in his home country by missing from the spot 3 times for Argentina against Colombia, and he is South America's reigning player of the year, don't forget. What are they going to do if they get a penalty tonight?
Bob and I spoke about it before. We slightly disagree in our opinions there. I think if the man wants to take it, let him go ahead and take it. I mean, unless they've got an outstanding penalty taker in the team as well, if he really fancies it again, let him do it. I don't think he will. I think he'll be looking to pass it on to someone else, but if he really wants to take the penalty, why not let him?
I mean, the thought of him missing again, unthinkable, even for a player of his considerable reputation in his home country. Well, he used to have a reputation.
I think taking a 3rd penalty tells you something about him. You know, strikers like to score goals. They see before they start the game, they dream about seeing a name in the headlines the following morning in the papers. And the fact he took a 3rd penalty after missing 2, I think it tells you a lot about that boy. I think, don't be surprised if he takes another one tonight.
I tell you what would be interesting, the producer who's recommending which camera goes on what, if there is a penalty given.
Yes, if he tries to fight for the ball.
Whichever way. If he was, no thank you, and starts to walk away, and I think it would have been discussed quite a lot in depth in the team meetings they've had after the last game.
The coach will not be on the touchline as far as we understand it, because Bielsa was sent off in the Colombia game. Is that going to be a factor? You've been there yourself, you've tried to get messages out to international teams.
It is difficult, very, very difficult. Do you have a walkie-talkie? How do you speak to your number two who's on the touchline? Is it through the walkie-talkie? Who's going to take the responsibility of getting those messages on? Who's going to make this responsibility of changing substitutes?
You like to think at this level, Bob, that the players, when things are not happening, that the players are that experienced and that knowledgeable and that talented, that the main men in the team can make the changes for you. I mean, as an international coach, which I've not been, but I'd like to think I've ever got there, that you have good enough players and wise enough players to be able to do that for
I don't know whether this lad's been in charge for long enough though, Graham. That's the question mark.
I'm about the players on the pitch. I mean, there's quality players at international level in any team, and I think I'd like to think that those players could make the changes if they're obvious ones themselves.
Okay, thanks for now to Graham and to Bobby. This could be a fascinating 90 minutes of international football. Let's hold our breath. Let's hope for a good spectacle. Craig Brown and Alan Parry.
So the longest running feud in South American football continues here in Luque tonight. Argentina taking on Uruguay in what's a vital match in Group C of the Copa América. No such thing as a friendly, really, when these two nations meet. Their rivalry going back many years, and even though they're both certain of reaching the quarter-final, I'm sure there'll be no holding back. Argentina go into the match still in shock, I think, from their 3-0 defeat in that incredible game against Colombia. And Martin Palermo, who of course wrote himself an unfortunate page in football history with that hat-trick of misses from the penalty spot, is, as you can see, in the starting lineup again. However, Javier Zanetti, who was sent off against Colombia, is suspended. His place will be taken by Diego Cagna. Ortega, another still missing through suspension for Argentina. He will be available, though, for the quarter-final. Uruguay, with their young and experimental squad, can't match Argentina in terms of experience, but in Marcelo Zalayeta, they have a very talented, quality striker who might well cause Argentina a few problems tonight. Now, if we get a definite result here, then we know that the losers would face the host Paraguay in the capital Asuncion in the quarter-final. Tough match that. However, the winners would have to play Brazil, the holders and favourites, in Ciudad del Este. If it's a draw, then it will be Uruguay facing Brazil, and Argentina would play Colombia. Roberto Hidalgo from Peru, the man in charge tonight. He's already taken one of Argentina's games in this competition. Their opening match, in fact, when they beat Ecuador by 3-1. Alongside me, the Scotland manager, Craig Brown. Craig, well, in view of the fact that they're both qualified for the last 8 anyway, it's taken a little bit of an edge off this game, but I don't think this passionate crowd here is going to allow either team to do anything other than take this seriously.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Alan. I'm sure the hostility which exists between the two countries will certainly make sure that we have a competitive match, because in actual fact, from what you've said, there's a disincentive to win the game. The winners have to play against Brazil in the next round in the quarter-final, and that surely would make it less than appealing to win the match. But because of the nature of the competitive fixture, I'm sure we'll get some fireworks, and both teams, no team likes to go out to lose a game of football. These teams will be all out, I'm sure, for victory.
National pride will be as important as the points at stake here. Argentina in their blue and white stripes. They had to change their shorts. They would have clashed with Uruguay, who play in the light blue shirts and win the first throw. Rossi Vivas, the Arsenal fullback, starts the match tonight. His place at right back was in doubt. Ibarra had played in the opening game, but Vivas gets the verdict, and certainly Argentina get the first free kick. A crude challenge there, which the referee didn't like at all, on Palermo. And one of many such tackles I suspect we might be seeing tonight.
Yes, a very early, crude one, and the referee was right on the spot, as he'll have to be, I'm sure, throughout the match. All credit to him. A clear foul, which he gave instantly.
Pikun, the player who committed the offence. Goalkeeper Carini. Ought to get a decent view of this. It's a long way out, but obviously having to line the wall up could cause him a problem, and it's always an inventive free kick where Argentina are concerned, and that is a brilliant start to the match. Oh, what a superb strike by González, with only just over a minute gone. Argentina have taken the lead.
That was a magnificent strike with his left foot. The ball was rolled just beyond the wall. The wall broke up badly, and it snuggled nicely in the back of the net. An excellent start, wonderful free kick, but we must question the defensive wall of Uruguay. It's all broken up there. The ball skids in down at the goalkeeper's left-hand side, and Carini had no chance.
Christian González has scored the fastest goal of this Copa América tournament. Brilliant strike, and that is now goal number 47 of the competition already in 17 games and just about 1 minute. What a shocking start for Uruguay, but straight on the counter-attack here. Well, if the game continues in this fashion, any fears we might have had that they would be going through the motions will be quickly swept aside.
I think the young, inexperienced Uruguay team will suffer from that, because they had to settle to get into this match. They didn't settle at all. Argentina were very positive right from the kick-off, and they got the goal that their positive play deserved, and unfortunately for Uruguay, they're now up against it. So many young players, very inexperienced, and they'll have to settle quickly.
Well, we remember from that fateful night for English football in San Etienne just how clever and inventive Argentina are when it comes to free kicks, and they certainly executed a well-practiced routine there, but a stunning shot at the end of it from Christian González, one of the very big contingent of Argentine players who play their club football in Spain. He's with Real Zaragoza. Brilliant effort, and Carini caught cold.
Yes, I think in the full squad, 10 of the Argentinian players play in Europe, but only 3 in this team tonight. Ayala from Milan, Simeone from Inter, and of course Vivas from Arsenal.
Zaragoza with the through ball, and danger here for Argentina. And the free kick's gone against Magallanes, who you may remember was actually sent off in the match against Colombia, served a 1-match ban, and available again tonight. They had 2 players red-carded in their opening game, Uruguay, the first dismissals of the tournament, but now the number of red cards has risen to 11, and one was also shown to Bielsa, the Argentine coach, who's having to watch this match from the stands. Luxemburgo, the Brazilian coach, is also amongst the crowd here tonight, and we could see Argentina get a second. Uruguay's defence looking very rocky at the moment.
Yes, they are. They'll require to settle very quickly, because if they don't, they could be 2 down in no time, and then there would be no recovery, I would suspect, from that.
Well, Argentina got off to their expected winning start in the competition, beating Ecuador by 3-1. Then in their second game, it all went wrong, and they were beaten 3-0 by Colombia, and that's what placed a question mark against their qualification for the quarterfinals. But because the other groups, A and B, have been competed before this one, the format of the competition has been quite kind to both these countries, who went into the match knowing what they had to do, and in fact knowing that they were qualified for the last 8, irrespective of the outcome tonight. Argentina looking very, very bright early on here. Riquelme exchanging passes with Palermo. Uruguay back in possession. Fleur-Keane in the middle of the field for them. Tall, commanding figure. He's had a couple of decent games in the competition already. Zaragoza is their main man up front.
I think one of the reasons they've settled quickly is that 5 of them play for the same club, and of course there must be a great understanding when you've got 5 playing for Boca Juniors in the same international team. Of course that happens throughout the world. Traditionally the top clubs supply the players for the international team, and in Argentina, Boca Juniors, being the top club, have 5 players in the starting lineup and 1 on the bench.
Well, it'll be fascinating to see what happens if Argentina should get a penalty in this match. Palermo, having missed 3, you would think would be the 12th out of 11 players stepping forward to take it, but he has apparently gone on record as saying he's quite pleased, he's quite happy to take it should it come his way again. Whether the coach feels the same way is open to debate.
I'd be surprised if the coach would allow him to take it. In fact, there are coaches who don't allow the same player to take 2 penalties, whether he scores or not. I know way back I played with the brother of Bill Shankly, Bob Shankly, and he refused to allow anyone to take a second penalty.
Quick look at the substitutes bench there for Argentina, who lead by a 1-0 here. Stunning shot from a free kick from all of 20 yards by Christian González with just over 60 seconds. In fact, when I glanced at my watch, it was about 70 seconds when the ball hit the back of Uruguay's net. Fastest goal of the tournament so far.
Yeah, it's a great delivery from González, another of the European players from Real Zaragoza. He struck it magnificently with his left foot, and certainly gave a great start to Argentina.
Schelotto, the player, fouled. Another free kick to Argentina. It was a punching tackle by Picun on Palermo that led to the free kick, which produced that opening goal. Palermo's partner in attack goes forward. Samuel, a big centre-back there as well. Simeone, always a danger from free kicks. Goalkeeper made an extravagant dive. It's come back out again to González, the goal scorer. Coelho on the right. And a decent ball back in. Could produce problems here. González was lined up for another shot. Found his way through to Palermo.
Well, he was right at the penalty spot, and I don't think that's his favourite position. He was leaning back on that one, and he just squirmed it past the goalkeeper's right-hand post, so no danger really. But I think he'll be disappointed because it was a good chance.
You have to feel a bit sorry for Palermo. It's been forgotten in the inevitable headlines about his hat-trick of penalty misses that he did actually score 2 goals from open play in that opening match against Ecuador. Uruguay back in possession in the middle of the field with Luque in, and now the dangerous Zalayeta, who scored 2 goals in the last game for Uruguay. Alves and Magueta combining well again.
But this is an uncompromising back 4 for Argentina. There's no quarter given there. They're getting right in with the tackles, and they certainly mean business.
These 2 countries jointly hold the record for the biggest number of Copa America wins, 14 each. The last time for Uruguay 4 years ago.
I think that's an amazing record, particularly for Uruguay.
It's a great run and cross there. Sorin in the opposition penalty area. And that's certainly the area of the field where Argentina will be happy to see Zalayeta. He's not going to do them any damage there. In fact, he's given the ball away. Clearance by Flurkin on the edge of his own box, but Argentina making all the early running here inside the opening 10 minutes, and already a goal to the good. Samuel, a layoff by Palermo. Oh, the little back heeler delighted the crowd, but Sorin couldn't get it right. Uruguay back in possession. Their captain, Lombo.
Unusual for a 21-year-old to be captain of his country, but great credit to him, and he looks a very composed youngster at the back. And you're taking on the defender, hoping the deflection would take it for a corner, but it didn't.
Of course, the irony of this match is that Daniel Passarella, who captained Argentina to their 1978 World Cup win and is certainly one of their finest ever players, is about to take over as coach of Uruguay. He's left it to Victor Pua, who had a very successful record with the under-20 side, to be in charge for this tournament. And Pua has picked a very youthful squad, most of the established Uruguayan players not here.
Both teams lining up in a traditional 4-4-2 formation. The game is quite long at the moment. They're not squeezing up, particularly Argentina. They're giving themselves a bit of depth, and Ayala is behind the other three defenders more often than not.
And back by Pagada. Del Campo with a long ball forward. Now Zalayeta. Magallanes available in midfield, and his runners open space up here. Difficult cross for Argentina to deal with. Del Campo getting the ball in from the right.
Yeah, that was a great ball in, but unfortunately for him, no forward colleague coming to the front post, making the run across the defenders, and it was easily cleared, but a very good cross.
And a foul on the goal scorer, González. Just completed his third season in the Spanish league, Christian González.
And the significant thing is that the referee, Roberto Hidalgo, was very close to that free kick, to that foul again, giving the free kick. Good official, well up with play, which he has to be, I think, with the traditional hostility between the two countries.
Well, Argentina get a corner out of that from the cross by González. Schelotto forcing the defender's mistake. Told the official timing for the opening goal of the game by González was 67 seconds. And there could be another one on the way here. Well, that was very close to falling to the feet of Schelotto. The flick on, I think, was from Sorin, the fullback, on the near post. A beautifully flighted corner.
Yeah, an excellent flick on, and that's obviously well rehearsed as well the free kick. So you are seeing Argentina here at their best in terms of set piece preparation.
Samuel and Simeone, both threats here. Schelotto as well being, well, closely marked is an understatement. There's a lot going on there. But Uruguay have dealt with a problem, and a clever little header out by Alves to Magallanes.
Yeah, both recent corners played into the front post for a flick on, so I'm presuming that they'll change that. But the first one was successful, second one not so good. But they'll have more up the sleeve knowing Argentina.
González with neat play in the middle of the field and sets up the chance for Riquelme. Riquelme, this youngster that they reckon is one of the big new stars of Argentine football.
Too anxious for that shot, he just snatched at it. I think he had more time than he thought he had. He could have taken another touch, got a little closer and put it on target, but the 21-year-old is under no pressure at all, having already seen his side go ahead, and I think he could have relaxed a little more.
Plays for Boca Juniors, one of the most famous clubs in the Argentine league. Argentina reached the World Cup quarter-final, of course, last year, losing to that fantastic goal by Dennis Bergkamp against Holland in Marseille. And in this particular tournament, Argentina have failed to get to the semi-final in the last two tournaments. They went out against Brazil in the quarter-final in '95, and then Peru at the same stage 2 years ago, which for a country of their stature is a disappointing recent record. Miscontrol there by Palermo.
Yeah, we've got to excuse him a little. I think the ground was very bumpy in front there, but he certainly miscontrolled it. But there is an excuse, I'm sure.
Given away to the same player who does occasionally look a little bit clumsy, you have to say, but then again, when we look back to those 2 goals he scored in the opening game, his technique was excellent.
Yeah, I think he's also a South American Player of the Year, so I'm sure he's got more skill than he displayed in the last 2 occasions when he was trying to control it.
Evidently the fans here in Paraguay aren't particularly keen on him. He's been nicknamed the Donkey. González for Argentina.
This guy González has got a great left foot. He played that one across very, very tidily. He scored a magnificent goal, so it's a treat to watch him on the left side.
Yeah, he's one of those brought in for the second game. He didn't play in the opener. Lurking shot, and that must have caught Burgos by surprise. He hit it so well from that distance.
Good strike from Flurkin. He delivers it very well, right on target, and goalkeeper had to be alert there. Burgos got 2 hands behind it. Had it been slightly wide of him, he was in difficulty.
Made the squad a couple of years ago in Bolivia, Flurkin, but he didn't actually get to play. He's now actually figured in all 3 games for his team in this tournament. Sorin for Argentina, a lead by a 1-0. Easily cleared by Picun. Flurkin, tall and commanding again in the middle of the field. Magallanes gets it back to him. Alves, and now again Zalayeta. He's got a real turn of pace, and Alves is never far from him. Well, what a good tackle that was to stop him in his tracks. Great defending there by Samuel.
Yes, but encouraging play from Uruguay. They're settled down now and they're beginning to pass the ball to each other and getting into forward areas. So it's encouraging. The game is open. There's plenty of space in midfield, neither side closing up, as I said, and I think we'll see a lot of good passing. And there's an example, good switch of play from left to right to Vivas.
Just a bit too strong, the ball from Nelson Vivas. Argentina came into the tournament as second favourites. That obviously went off the defenders group because a corner's been given. And it was a major upset when they were beaten by Colombia in the second game in the group. However, the way Colombia have performed in this tournament, perhaps not such a shock. And they have won this group quite comfortably in the end with a maximum 9 points. Having beaten Ecuador, of course, in the match that preceded this one.
Variation in the corner kick there. First 2 were front post for the head flick back. That was a long one over the top. So, as usual, Argentina exceptionally well prepared.
And certainly dominating this opening 20 minutes. Palermo in possession. González. He wanted the return ball, but Riquelme had other ideas. And that was an excellent effort from that range by the 21-year-old. Good save from Carini.
Yeah, and the 19-year-old saved it very well. So 2 youngsters doing great stuff in the early part of the match. Great shot, well saved.
Cameras lingering on Palermo, it seems, at every opportunity. There's been so much discussion, of course, about his penalty misses the other night, something that most of us have never seen before in professional football at any level.
No, I must admit I haven't seen it. I hesitate to say it, but 40 years in the game and I haven't seen anything like that. 3 penalties missed.
I'm not sure it's ever happened at the park level, never mind professional football. But he's big and honest, and he's got the courage to keep fronting it up, Palermo. He makes the run, it's gone out towards González, the goal scorer, chested down beautifully, and the shot was struck from some distance by Samuel. There was an optimistic appeal by the Argentine fans here for a penalty, but I'm not sure the defender could have got out of the way anyway. Vivas joining the attack.
Interesting to see that second corner, Alan, long over the top again. 3 Argentinian players running to the front post, and it was delivered right to the back. So first 2 to the front, second 2 to the back. Good preparation, as I said.
There goes Magallanes for Uruguay. Alves. Oh, it's a great effort and a fine save, or did he? Well, I thought at first that Burgos had got a hand to the ball, but perhaps not, because the referee seems to have indicated goal kick. Brilliant shot though by Coelho.
Coelho hit it well, yes, it was swerving. Unfortunately for Coelho, it was just swerving beyond the post, but Another metre inside, and that was an equaliser. Well hit.
20 minutes gone, and Uruguay producing their best effort so far. But here's the man who scored the goal after 67 seconds, and González almost reached the through ball again.
Great interception there by Lembo. Wonderful saving tackle.
Uruguay have overcome the shock of conceding such an early goal and beginning to make an impact on the game now, but Magallanes overrunning that one. 20 minutes gone, they're a goal behind.
And I think deservedly so. Argentina settled very quickly, got the goal, and although Uruguay have now come back into play and they're looking a bit more positive, still you feel that Argentina are playing well within themselves.
Uruguay won the first two Copa tournaments ever held back in 1916, and the following year they went on to dominate with Argentina. And they've won it in recent times in 1983, 1987, and again in 1995. We really are talking about the two giants of the competition here, because remember, the holders, Brazil, have only won this particular trophy 5 times in their history.
Well, that's an amazing achievement, particularly for Uruguay, with only 3 million people in the country, to have won it 14 times, and the might of Brazil only 5 times is quite staggering.
On Sorin, another free kick to Argentina, and they can't continue to concede so many free kicks so close to their penalty area, Uruguay.
Yeah, they should have learned from the first one, because it was put in the back of the net brilliantly by González, but this man has done very well so far.
In fact, it was the same player, Fernando Picon, who made the rash tackle again. Riquelme's free kick, headed away by the tallest player in the blocks, Fleur-Keane. Coelho brings them forward, but has wasted that opening. Burgos, who was an unused substitute in the World Cup squad last summer.
Yeah, good delivery with his right foot. He was very uncomfortable in the early part of the game with a pass back on his left side. He was lucky to concede a corner from that, but I beg your pardon, get a goal kick from it, but he was really in difficulty, but more than comfortable on his right side.
Midway through the half then, Argentina still in front with that González goal after just 1 minute of play. First time these two countries have met in the Copa América for over 10 years. And Uruguay won 4 of the previous 5 meetings. So is that an omen, I wonder? Certainly second best so far in this game.
Cagna took a knock there in that tackle from Coelho, but I don't think it was malicious.
Clearance by Begara, finding Alves. And this time the free kick in Uruguay's favour, foul on Jorge Alves, striker with the champion club Nacional. Plays in their attack with Ruben Sosa, famous Uruguayan striker.
Yeah, we did say that there were 5 players from Boca playing for Argentina, but 4 from Nacional in the Uruguay side. Again, underlining the fact that the major club usually supplies the players.
Campo with the forward ball. Zalayeta held it up nicely. Coelho beaten to the challenge, but the referee's given a free kick here against González. Well, feel he made a fair attempt to win the ball there.
Yes, he did. I think the decision was very harsh indeed.
Justice done in the end, with Argentina winning their own free kick and back in possession with Nelson Vivas. Just enjoyed his first season in the English Premiership with Arsenal. But that forward ball finds Palermo offside.
Yeah, very few offside decisions so far because of the length of the game. That was one, but it was a fairly obvious one. Vivas lined up to play it forward, and of course the defenders from Uruguay read it very well, and out they came, and Palermo was offside.
Campo playing it forward. Alves beaten in the challenge. And the tackles Getting quite meaty at that point.
Yeah, this is what we expected, but it has been relatively tame, I think, Alan.
A reminder that if we get a definite result tonight, the winners will have to play Brazil in the quarter-final. The losers will face the host Paraguay, which is a difficult enough match anyway. And if it's a draw, then it means that Uruguay will play Brazil and Argentina will play Colombia. Palermo awaits the free kick, tried to get away from his marker, but failed to do so. Picon is a dominant figure in the air, and Palermo won't find it too easy to beat him to the high balls tonight. Sorin.
Both Picon and Lembo are stalwarts at the back there. They've got great stature, and as you correctly said, they're excellent in the air. Picon in particular. But I noticed that Lembo's given the job of marking Palermo at corners and other set pieces.
Great bit of skill there by Riquelme. Scored 4 goals when Argentina won the World Youth Championship a couple of years ago. Riquelme over in Malaysia. He didn't actually make the World Cup squad last year, only just turned 21. And he's going to have to play well tonight, because Ortega, who hasn't been able to play because of a ban that's carried on from last year's World Cup finals, is available for Argentina's next game, so there's going to be some competition for places in midfield. Here's Magallanes for Uruguay. Dara making a forward run here. Pablo thought better releasing it first time. Still space opens up, and a very decent effort as well. Joaquin certainly can strike the ball well.
Yes, he came up from the back to support his midfield and then ended up in attack, and a good shot with his left foot, but just over the top. Good attempt from a relatively new cap in the Uruguayan side. Impressive from the start of this match.
When you think that Uruguay's squad here is based largely on the players who went to the Under-20 Championships a couple of years ago, then it looks as though they've got a bright future ahead of them, and a great run here by Alves, taking on Argentina's defence single-handed. Magallanes in possession. Well, the defender claiming he won that ball cleanly, but a free kick has been given in a dangerous position here for the challenge on Alves. Certainly was from behind.
It was from behind, yes. He caught the ankles there, no question.
Samuel, the offender. Well, we've seen one spectacular free kick in this game. Can Uruguay produce a bit of South American magic of their own? Coelho, the player about to strike the ball, it seems, although they do have options. Zalayeta and Magallanes, but it is Coelho, and it wasn't very good. However, Zalayeta's return shot was considerably closer, and he's claiming it deflected and that they should have a corner, but goal kick the verdict.
A very disappointing initial free kick. Zalayeta got the rebound, fortunately, and struck it past the post, claiming, I think, in vain for the corner kick, but it was a poor attempt at the initial free kick.
Uruguay have played more games than any other nation in the history of this competition. This is their 165th, and they've been in no fewer than 20 finals. It really is an astonishing record. Back in possession with Coelho. Argentina's defence quite happy to produce the ruthless tackle, but it matters. But that sometimes disguises the fact they've got some very talented players at the back who can also play their way out of trouble, as they did then.
Yes, Ayala and Samuel are outstanding at the back. Ayala playing in Milan, and Samuel reputed to be moving to Italy. That's testimony to their excellence.
Yes, it's said that the number 6 is only 21, could be on his way to Roma for next season. And here he is.
And he's got a sweet left foot as well. You know, it's handy to have a naturally left-sided centre-back, because they're rare in Europe, and if he goes to Roma, he'll be a good acquisition.
deep football in the middle of the field from Uruguay. 15 minutes of the half remaining. There's still a goal behind Christian González after just 67 seconds, and the ball was played to him from a free kick. Thundering shot. Number of goals well up on the average in the Copa America so far, and there have been some absolutely spectacular efforts as well. Good challenge there by Sorin on Del Campo, winning possession back for Argentina. Riquelme in the middle of the field for them, and they've got space down the right hand side here now. Can they develop it? Cagna wasted it really with the through ball.
It's pleasing to see Uruguay building from the back. They're not just going to clear it aimlessly upfield. Both sides trying to build, and that's been a feature of this tournament. And we see it again with Argentina here. They're keeping possession in a tight area. We've got a 3 against 3 situation, and they're out of it. Excellent play by Argentina.
This is a wonderful build-up. Can they get something on the end of it? Well, the defender just managed to deflect it away from Palermo.
That's what's happened to both teams throughout the match. The build-up's been excellent, but the final ball has been disappointing in many instances.
And Bielsa not able to take his place on the touchline for Argentina tonight. Gabrieta needs a bit of support here, and finally it arrives. Clearance has only gone as far as Coelho, hit that one well, and the goalkeeper made a bit of a mess of that, got away with it. Rather fortunately so too, as Alves was coming in, but they quickly changed that to sprinted attack. Schelotto in possession, now he's slowed it, looking inevitably for Palermo in the middle, but straight to goalkeeper Carini.
Another good shot from Coelho at the other end, and he struck it very well, but Burgos was right in line for it. But we do see a lot of space in midfield here, and that allows both teams to build up, and the interpassing has been superb, and particularly from Argentina, but from both sides.
Well, I think the competition needs a successful Argentine side. We were very disappointed with their performance, not half as much as they were, I'm sure, against Colombia. But if they can get the plot back again here tonight, then everyone will respect them. González doing brilliantly there on the floor, managed to keep possession. Sorin.
Worth looking at these set pieces. That was an excellent throw-in, well rehearsed again by Argentina. It's a treat to watch them, particularly on things that they can work on the training ground, and that throw-in was superb. I was interested to see what they would do down in the corner, but they got out of it very well. But unfortunately for them, they didn't deliver the ball into the box.
A moment ago there of the coach using his walkie-talkie to communicate with his number 2 Claudio Vivas, who's in his normal position down on the touchline. And the ball carelessly given away here, and Palermo's in a great position in the middle. It only needed a decent ball from Schelotto, who goes down theatrically. I bet Palermo's heart missed a beat there, thinking it was going to be a penalty and wondering, oh no, is it going to happen again? But he can relax. It's a goal kick.
It was a goal kick, I'm sure. But that came as a direct result of Uruguay trying to keep possession. We're talking and commending them for that, but on that occasion, to try a square ball in your own back third is very, very risky, and it cost them dearly almost.
Bigara, who is the nephew we mentioned the other night of Danny Bigara, a very well-known character in English football. Victor Pua, the man temporarily in charge of Uruguay until Daniel Passarella takes over full-time.
I don't think I'd like to disagree with him at half-time.
No, I mentioned the other night he certainly not been on a diet ahead of this competition, I think it's fair to say. Now Palermo goes, well, the referee has waved play on. I'm going to think that he had a difficult decision to make about what colour card there for a second, but didn't matter, he didn't even give the free kick. Now he's going to go back and produce a card, and I think it's for Palermo, presumably for what he regarded, yes. I'm not sure you get away with that movement too often, Ref, but...
Well, I was going to say good hand signals, but I think it was just a bit overdone.
Yes, in the wrong circles, that could be definitely misinterpreted. But I think that's a yellow card, we can say, for Palermo for diving.
Yeah, I don't think we should do that in Glasgow.
Saturday night in Sauchiehall Street, that would definitely get you a thumping. And we've got another yellow card, this time for Sorin. So 2 yellow cards in the space of 30 seconds for Argentina.
He's been very sparing in his use of the yellow card from the start of the match. I thought using a great deal of common sense, but 2 in quick succession doesn't augur too well for the remainder of the proceedings.
Magallanes with the free kick. Alves a possible target. Very closely marked though by Cagna, who's come back from midfield to help here. And it's a beautifully flighted ball. It caused a real problem, but the referee saw a bit of pushing, and Argentina get a free kick.
A well-flighted ball, but far too long in the air from the forwards' point of view, giving the defenders time to pick it out and head it clear. There it is in the air, it's hanging there, and it allows the Argentinian defenders time to get their jump to perfection, and with Ayala and Samuel there shouldn't be much danger in the air.
Under 10 minutes of the half remaining. Argentina haven't built on their spectacular start, but still lead and really deserve to, although Uruguay have come back strongly in the last 10-15 minutes or so. And in possession now, taking risks again in their own half of the field. González is barged over by Coelho. Another yellow card, so the referee, having made a quiet start, has now produced 3 yellow cards in 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think that was a bit harsh, because by my reckoning, Coelho's first tackle, it was a bit clumsy, but not in any way harmful, and he's got a yellow card, he needs to be careful.
Well, it's further out than the original free kick, which led to Argentina's goal, and consequently, they've played it wide to get the ball back into Schelotto. And that's another corner. And Argentina's set pieces have been an outstanding feature of their play in all their games.
Yeah, I'm looking with interest at what they do at each corner, every throw-in, every free kick. Here's another example.
Sorin making that near post run again, trying to flick it on. Beyond him is Palermo and Schelotto. This time it didn't come off. Alves in a desperate race to try and win it back, but Argentina looking very composed in defence. 7 minutes to half-time. They lead by 1-0. Basically playing for runners-up position in this group, with Colombia having won Group C with a maximum 9 points, gaining their 3rd successive win over Ecuador by 2-1 tonight. Magallanes for Uruguay. Picard down the left. Nowhere to go for Magallanes, so he tries to take them on, and that was a mistake. And straight into Simeone. Captain Lembo cleaning up nicely for Uruguay. And that's a good-looking ball for Zalayeta. Free kick. Needless challenge, because he wasn't really going anywhere, Zalayeta.
Absolutely, he was facing away from goal. He had to turn, he had to beat the defender, and now they've got a free kick, which is far better than the situation he was in, and I think it was very careless indeed.
Vivas, the player who has conceded the free kick. Just a little over 5 minutes of the half remaining. The referee won't be happy about that ball being in play, and indeed he isn't. He's ordered him to take it again. Coelho over the ball as the tallest players in the side for Uruguay. Lembo and Flurkeen discuss tactics. Alves waiting to snap things up behind them. Good punch away by Burgos though, and they've committed so many men forward. If Argentina can break quickly here, Uruguay could have a problem. González in possession. Still space for him on the right. They're getting men back quickly now though, Uruguay. Schelotto with a back heel. It was a lovely ball. González still going strong. Uruguay recovered well there. Quaglio for them. Played wide right in the opening 2 games, but is adopting a more central midfield role tonight. Vivas is the player wide right, and on this occasion the fullback Del Campo finding Zalayeta. That's a corner.
That was a good flowing move from Uruguay. Excellent play, great supporting run from Vivas. And when it goes to this man here up front, Zalayeta, you always feel something's going to happen. He's got the experience, of course, in Italy with Empoli, I think on loan from Juventus, but a definite threat to the Argentinian defence.
Lembo the danger here. Quaglio's free kick finds him, but corner kick rather finds him, but it was a rather powerless header, easily collected by Burgos. Half-time looming now, and Argentina have had 1 or 2 scary moments, but basically have had most of the possession.
They have, but Uruguay have shown great composure after the early blow that they received, and all credit to the young side. They haven't panicked, they've tried to keep possession, but in front of goal they look very inept so far.
Strange, we were all thinking before the match, because of the format of this competition, it was not exactly a great incentive for either of these 2 teams to win this match, because as we mentioned, the winners will play Brazil in the quarter-finals. You wouldn't think anybody would really fancy that, but mind you, the thought of playing either Paraguay or Colombia isn't exactly enticing either, but I think most coaches would agree that the longer you can avoid meeting Brazil, the better. You had them, of course, in your first game in the World Cup finals, Craig, last summer.
Yes, we had, and obviously we were worried about it, but I thought we did reasonably well. Unfortunately lost to our own goal. But Brazil in this tournament are very much better with a younger side.
González linking up brilliantly again here. Him and Riquelme certainly on the same wavelength, but Del Campo in with the clearance. The right back who didn't play in the opening match, and in fact is a new international in the squad, was not capped at all before this tournament started. Important intervention he made there.
I think the big difference between Brazil and the 2 teams we're watching here, Alan, is the fact that there's a great change of pace in the Brazil side. But this has been a bit one-paced. Good passing, neat, clever, decent passing, but no one bursting through the way we see, for example, Ronaldo doing. Everything is studied and one-paced.
I'm sure it would have been a much more fiery encounter as well if qualification depended on it. This has been quite tame in that respect. Here's Zalayeta for Uruguay. 3 yellow cards so far, 2 for Argentina, Sorin and Palermo, and Quaglio for Uruguay. Here's one of them, Sorin. He's going to find the other, Palermo.
Yeah, Sorin's got a yellow tonight. I think he got a red card against Mexico in the game in June recently, so he's quite a fierce tackler.
Ayala not too happy with that tackle on him either. Captaining Argentina, Roberto Ayala. He's also captain under Passarella and played all 5 matches for Argentina in the World Cup finals last year. Yet another who plays in Italy. Yeah,
and he's a championship winner in Italy. I'm sure he'll be delighted with the final part of the season as far as Milan was concerned.
And of course sneaking through to take the title ahead of Lazio in the final weeks of the season. Here goes Palermo again for Argentina in the final minute of the first half. González, the goal scorer.
The same feeling again compared to when you compare them with Brazil. It's one-paced. No one is bursting through there.
And Argentina quite happy at this stage to keep possession and see out the first half with their 1-goal lead. Yeah, making progress now with Vivas. And he attempted to go onto the return ball, but Schelotto couldn't find him.
What Argentina are failing to do is get behind the Argentinian defence. They're backing off certainly, but unlike Brazil, they're playing everything in front of the defenders, and that's tailor-made for guys like Picon and Lembo, who are standing facing the play and intercept and tackle when required.
Stoppage time being played now at the end of the first half. There'll be just 1 minute of that. Del Campo getting forward again. That was a risky challenge, and the referee was left with no option other than to award a free kick for the tackle by Samuel on Vespa.
Yeah, clumsy stuff from Samuel. He should just leave his player running, facing out, let him run it out, and Vespa would have, I'm sure, overrun the ball, but now he's given away a free kick in a most dangerous situation.
Magallanes will take it. Lembo a possible target again on the far post. Well, Uruguay claiming that he was obstructed from getting onto that ball by the defender. The referee saw nothing wrong. Goal kick.
Ayala stood his ground there, and of course when Lembo come running in, he collided with him, but I don't think it was a foul.
And nor did Mr. Hidalgo, who must be very close now to blowing the whistle for the completion of the first 45 minutes here in Luque. And there it is, and Argentina made the quickest start of any team in this 1999 Copa América with a goal after just 67 seconds. A fantastic strike following a free kick by Christian González. They haven't really built on that. Uruguay steadily came back into the game as the half wore on, and they're still very much in this match. But at half-time in Luque, it's Argentina 1, Uruguay 0.
A reminder of the live international rugby union action for you Saturday morning. New Zealand against South Africa. It's a big one, the first match of the 99 Tri-Nations series, Saturday morning, 3:30 over on Sky Sports 1. With a big one for you tonight here, Argentina-Uruguay in the Copa América, one of the oldest rivalries in world football, and it's running to recent form. Argentina in front at half-time by 1-0. Bobby Gould and Graham Souness are with me here, and I think it's fair to say you've enjoyed that more than one or two other games in the championship so far. After 2 minutes, you turned to us, Bobby, and you said, game on here. Yeah,
they were up for it. There's a few tackles, and the first goal actually came from a foul, didn't it? And along those lines since then, that I believe, from my opinion, that they're not in the class of Colombia or Brazil at the moment, Argentina or Uruguay, from what I've witnessed so far.
Graham, you suggested when we were going into it that professional pride, Argentina's desire to put that Colombia defeat behind them would dictate that they put on a performance tonight, and you were right.
Yeah, I think so. There's also the aspect, okay, they know that the team that loses will possibly have a better game the next time around, an easier game next time around. But there's nothing like confidence in football. You know, we talk about confidence all the time, and the team that wins tonight go on and play Brazil, and they will fancy their chances. I think if it's Argentina, they have a real chance because they have a good history against them. A good goal for you? I'm disappointed with the goal. I mean, it's a great strike from outside the area, but they're a young team. The ball's not, for a start, they've gone too far back. The wall. The referee's on the other side of the pitch. They should be sneaking towards the ball before the referee blows a whistle. They've not charged the ball quick enough. You know, these are professional things that senior pros do. The Uruguay team is a young team. You know, look where the referee is. The referee's out of the picture. They should be sneaking towards the ball, and they've been slow to react to the first touch.
Bobby, were those players offside?
They're definitely offside. They're in the line of the goalkeeper's vision.
Were they interfering with play?
Yes.
Were they in active areas?
Of course they are.
Should the goal have been allowed?
No, have a look at the linesman. We're privy, we've watched it a couple of times. If people at home can watch the top linesman in front of the advertising sign, he starts to move away from the goal now. Instead of being static and watching the back players, if he does his job properly, there's only one thing he's got to do, is just raise his flag. He starts to run the other way. The wall, as Graham said, was a disgrace.
I think the whole thing about that, they've shown there are young players, inexperienced players there. You know, from the very first thing, the free kick's given, they go back 10 yards. Who goes back 10 yards at a free kick today when it's near your area? Okay, ref will go back. The minute the referee goes out of the picture, you're nudging forward. They didn't do that. The guy goes up, he touches it, they don't react instantly, and the guy slots a good shot from outside the area. For me, it was a little bit of naivety on Uruguay's behalf. On the credit side for Argentina, it was a good goal, a good strike. Bobby suggesting maybe still slightly disappointed by Argentina overall, if I have you right.
Yes.
Do you agree with that, Graham? Well, no two games are the same. Looking at the first 45 minutes, the way I see it, I see Argentina moving the ball quicker than Uruguay. I see Uruguay as an inexperienced team, and it's two very similar types of football. It's typical South American football, but I see Uruguay playing and doing things that young players do. I see Argentina, great start, maybe expecting a bit more because after such a good start, but I think Argentina have another gear. I think Argentina have got so many good players, they have another gear.
Thank you, gentlemen. Colombia have won the group. Argentina right now on course to finish second with a win here over Uruguay. That would mean Brazil against Argentina in the quarterfinals at the weekend. But maybe Graham Souness is right and confidence will increase. Maybe they fancy that job.
Then the situation comes back. I'm so impressed by the Colombian side. And like I referred last night to the Brazilian side, I checked on the average age of the players, it was 22-23. And now you've got a scenario, if you look at the Colombian side, that have played some exciting football, all very talented youngsters. But what I want to know, from my aspect of where I've been managing, why are they so better than what we are? Why are they better?
We'll pick up that thread again maybe at the end of the show or in the quarterfinal, semi-final phase. Now, how do Uruguay get back into this game, Graham?
Well, a bit of luck. They will, you know, the young enthusiastic players will keep going. But I just see Argentina's having another gear. You know, they are good players, and if you've got good players at this level, it's the difference. I think Uruguay have good players, but they're inexperienced players. Argentina have good players who are experienced players. I can only see Argentina winning this game.
Bobby?
I was involved with Wales and we conceded goals in the first 5 minutes for about the last 4 or 5 games. And it's ever so difficult at this level because they don't let you off the hook. And as Graham says early on, it's about ball retention. And they can be flicking up and everything else. The only saving factor that Uruguay have got, Paul, is that they know they have qualified for the next.
Yes. Thought does occur here as Argentina take their time to get out for the second half. Bielsa has had to communicate, as we've seen, through a walkie-talkie because he's banned from the touchline tonight. Does that mean he's trying to swing an extra minute or two in the dressing room because he wants to get his message through?
Listen, everybody plays cat and mouse, no matter who you are or whatever you are, and that's the biggest education I think that we had when English sides went into Europe. They always did the things. He's smiling here.
We used to do it. When I went to Liverpool, they'd been through that, and we used to do it in reverse.
Well, we was at Wembley with Don Howe, and we were playing against Liverpool. Don says, put your clocks back 2 minutes. So everybody put their watch back 2 minutes. So every time the referee or the linesman came to the door, we would say, oh no, your watch is wrong. He said, what do you mean? He said, oh, look at our watch, you know, and all our watches were synchronised, and we kept Liverpool waiting.
By my watch, this is now a 19-minute half-time interval.
It's South America, anything can happen.
Well, does that indicate that maybe he's not so happy with them, Bielsa?
Not really. Like what we saw, we had a shot of him there talking on his hand mic there, and what you have to try and do is analyse the game from up there. And sometimes as a manager, you do get a better picture.
Yeah, I don't think this 19 minutes has anything to do with talking tactics. I think they're at it. I think we'll send them out. We'll let them kick a few balls, get cold, and then we'll come out when we're ready.
Craig Brown in commentary said that overall he was disappointed by the lack of change of pace that the Argentines showed in that first half compared to the Brazilians. Would you respond to this stage, Graham?
I just think Argentina have so many bloody good players. I think they have another gear to go. I think they're playing against a young team who are feeling their way in a game. They'll be better for this game tonight. They'll be more experienced. They'll learn from it. But I can only see Argentina getting better.
Thank you, gentlemen. I enjoyed that. Let's get back then for the final 45 minutes. Argentina well on course, and we rejoin our commentary team. First up, Alan Parry.
And welcome back to the Estadio Feliciano Caceres here in Luque for the second half of the final match in Group C of this year's Copa América. In fact, the final match of the opening phase of the competition. Uruguay have decided to make a couple of changes during the half-time interval. Alves, the man who partnered Zalayeta in attack, has gone off, and his replacement is Pacheco, and they've also brought on a midfield player, number 6, Guigu, and there he is. Luque, the man whose place he has taken, a tall figure who was very useful, sitting in front of the two central defenders in the first half, and also a threat when Uruguay had set pieces in Argentina's half. But that feather's gone away now. Guigu has taken his place, Pacheco on for Alves. Argentina with the same 11 who started this game, and largely the regular starting lineup if you discount Zanetti, who of course is suspended. Reminder that Uruguay are in the blue shirts and black shorts. Argentina forced to change to white shorts for this match to avoid the clash. Argentina leading 1-0. González, the goal scorer, after 67 seconds. A foul there on Bigara. Free kick to Uruguay. Coelho has taken most of the set pieces. Handshakes between him and the man who brought him down, Schelotto. It's been a game played in exceptionally friendly circumstances tonight in view of the rivalry between these two countries. Just 3 yellow cards so far. Magallanes battled his way through there. He might have been given a free kick on 1 or 2 occasions. In the end, the free kick's gone against him.
I think he was unlucky. It looked as though he deserved a free kick earlier. But what surprised me was the length of time it took Argentina to reappear at half-time. I thought very discourteous, or the referee a bit indiscreet, been out there for about 2 or 3 minutes awaiting the teams. You wouldn't find that, I'm sure, in England or in Scotland. He would ensure the teams are out before he came. And of course Uruguay out for a long time, so maybe a bit of psychology there, psychological treatment on Uruguay. Wait, keep them waiting, then come out, get the big support to cheer you on. And maybe gamesmanship. I can't understand any other reason for the delay.
And there certainly is big support in this crowd of just under 20,000, most of them wearing the blue and white of Argentina. And if the scoreline stays as it is at the moment, and therefore Argentina finish runners-up in the group, then they would play Brazil in the quarterfinals, and what a mouth-watering prospect that is. The two favourites, Brazil first favourites, Argentina rated by the bookmakers just behind them, and that really would be some clash, and it would take place in Ciudad del Este, the ground where, of course, they seem to have had the worst of the weather in the championships so far. Mixture of rain and fog. It is quite close to the Brazilian border, and a favourite venue for them, I gather. But a draw here tonight would change the picture. It would mean that Uruguay would have to play Brazil instead. Zalieta in possession for Uruguay. Goal kick.
I was looking at this guy in the pass back a minute or 2 ago, and he didn't look comfortable at all, and even although it wasn't his right foot, he was very uncomfortable in the first half with a pass back on his left, but less than assured in his right as well.
I suppose if you were Bielsa, the Argentine coach, Craig, you'd almost be tempted to say, look lads, I'm not desperately bothered if we don't win this, because the thought of playing Brazil, well, it would send shivers down the spine of a few nations.
Yeah, I would be saying avoid injury, avoid red cards, and if possible avoid yellow cards. Just keep possession, enjoy the second half, and hopefully by so doing you get another goal, because they are man for man superior to the Uruguayan side, and much more experienced as well.
It's a strange situation whereby the winners almost have a disadvantage by winning, playing the favourites and not hosts, holders I should say, in the next round. Picun coming forward for Uruguay, who certainly will want to put on a show as well for their own supporters and their own sakes here. Remember, Uruguay definitely qualify for the quarterfinals irrespective of the result tonight. It's a shame that the final games in all the groups weren't played simultaneously, and that would have avoided the situation we have now.
Yeah, I think from the point of view of television coverage, they decided to ensure that they spread them. But simultaneous finishes would be a much more fair way of deciding.
the case now in European Championships and the World Cups, of course, to ensure absolute fairness. Copa America not in line with that particular policy. Free kick here to Argentina. Foul on the new midfield playmaker, the 21-year-old Riquelme.
Riquelme looks a fine player, nice left foot, glides past people, hits a good shot when he gets the chance, and he's certainly one we're going to hear about in the future.
Difficult free kick, whipped into that near post. Uruguay did well to defend that. Gigu, the new player, couldn't keep possession though. Stepping in to win it back for Uruguay. Made a reasonable start to this second half and deliberately knocked the ball out of play to allow treatment here. Unusual sporting act between these two nations. Ayala, the player, down injured.
We saw Pikun intercepting the ball a minute or two ago. He's been, for me, the most impressive Uruguayan player in the first half. A 27-year-old, but he's a new cap, and settled in very, very capably to the heart of the defence on the left side. Ayala's a tough guy, and I would expect him, with all that Serie A experience, to get up and get back into action very quickly.
Yes, most of Argentina's squad in the major European leagues, especially Spain and Italy. It's a great tribute to the quality of their players. They have that wonderful South American technique, skill and style, and also what might be regarded as typically European qualities of toughness, good mentality as well. One of the giants of the global game, of course, Argentina, twice World Cup winners, 1978, 1986, and beaten finalists in 1990. Always great to see them in action. Backpedaling here, with Zalayeta causing a problem or two.
This looks a more functional Argentinian side rather than one with flair. We've seen them in the past with great flair, sparkling play, but this is a functional, efficient Argentinian side. Very hard to beat, as I think England would acknowledge.
I wonder how long it'll take you to bring that one up. 7 minutes gone in the second half, and the shot by Magallanes deflected behind for a Uruguayan corner. Burgos hasn't had a lot to do for Argentina, but that might change now as the 6-foot-plus Pikun comes forward. Played to his area. Del Campos. Magallanes. And rather fortunately deflected to Bigara, who was brought down then. A bit of a harsh decision initially against Schelotto, but the referee had no doubts.
It was a harsh decision, but credit to Schelotto. There was a striker coming back to defend and making sure that no one ran from the back against him. I would give him great credit for that, but a soft free kick, and very often that's what happens. You lose a goal from a situation like this.
Magallanes pumping it in, and they could well have lost a goal from that as well. Argentina were a little bit flat-footed there, and certainly the marking was questionable as Vespa came in to make the header.
Good header from Vespa. The ball was driven, great ball to attack in the air because it was delivered with a bit of pace, and they just had to deflect it. He deflected it, but over the top it went.
Good ball, well taken by Del Campo. It wasn't easy to control that. He's played a decent ball through too. Pacheco trying to release Zalayeta. Confident start to the half by Uruguay. Del Campo in possession again. He's been forced into a corner here. And Samuel just leaned into him to make himself a bit of room.
This is a bright start by Uruguay to the second half. They've taken the ascendancy. They've got full of confidence. I think after losing the early goal they settled, and now they're playing, I think, very comfortably.
So either side of half-time, it's Uruguay who looked the more impressive. Here goes Zalayeta for them. Wouldn't open up for the shot, nor would it open up for Pacheco, his new partner, who has replaced Alves. Riquelme for Argentina. Very composed on the ball, always has time, the hallmark of a quality player. 10 minutes into the second half, and his team Argentina lead by a 0-0.
And still huge spaces in midfield, neither side closing up, giving a lot of room for the passing that we see just now from Argentina.
González, the goal scorer. Cross towards Palermo from Sorin on the left. Beautifully controlled again by Zalayeta, but Pacheco let him down once more.
Yeah, you get very little support in the first half from Alves, and Pochettino hasn't started too impressively in the second half, so I'm afraid Zalayeta is on his own up front for Uruguay.
Palermo miscontrolling the ball again. I don't know whether it's something to do with his size and appearance, but he looks anything but a South American style footballer, Palermo. You think of the great Kempes, for instance, who played up front in that fantastic Argentine side of 1978, which won the World Cup. Palermo is a very different kind of player. Kempes and Luque, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
Good football here by Argentina. González pulls it back. Now this is where Palermo can be effective, and the little downward header was excellent too, and Riquelme got it onto his right foot, and Palermo shoots. Well, there was me criticising him. He's rammed those words down my throat, because when the ball came to him, he showed the qualities that really matter. He may look clumsy and ungainly at times, but my word, he knows where the goal is, and that's his third of the tournament.
Not only did he score it, Alan, he created it. A great downward header there, brilliantly down to Riquelme. And when it was played back to him, he shot it into the roof of the net. Superb finish, mind you, a couple of yards further back and it would have been over the bar.
He's picked up a real shiner there as well. A real crack over his right eye, which is going to mean he'll have to go off to receive treatment rather than spend too much time celebrating the goal. I wonder if they'll take him off now as a precaution.
That's a great turn inside the box, very unselfish, and a magnificent finish with his left foot. Riquelme, wonderful play, sideways pass right into the path, and Palermo no messing, roof of the net.
Isn't it amazing? Take all the defenders away, take him back a yard or two, and he couldn't hit a barn door the other night from 12 yards out, but well, that means an easy finish there.
No, that's rifled in with his left foot. Superb finish. I did suggest though that had he been further back it might have gone over the top, but it was comfortably inside the post, below the bar, and a great finish, and you can see the joy. He's happy about that. After 3 penalty misses, I'm sure he must be.
Yanez measuring a shot just wide at the other end. Argentina leading 2-0 now, and it's going to be very hard to recover for Uruguay, you feel, from that, Craig.
Yeah, and you wonder why they don't take him off with the quarter-finals looming. And quite a dangerous eye injury there. There's no need to leave him on. They don't have to win the game. They're comfortably ahead, and they could give someone else a run, but he's determined to come back, and I'm sure that'll be to the benefit of his side.
The change that we are going to see is by Uruguay, strangely enough. Picara coming off, and he has been replaced by Marcelo Romero. Played all 3 matches for them in the last Copa America a couple of years ago. He's nominally a midfield player, so having replaced the left back Picara, that might mean a little switching around for Uruguay. Back on the pitch and back on the score sheet is Palermo. He is a strange mixture, though, isn't he, Clem? You've got to be full of admiration for his guts and determination and his courage in taking all those penalties the other night, having missed a couple. He's big and he's strong and might look clumsy at times, but he's very difficult to defend against, obviously.
That's right, that's the acid test. Imagine you're a defender. Would you like to play against this guy? And I'm sure few defenders would like to be opposed to Palermo. He's got power, he's got strength, he's capable of finishing, good in the air. So an awkward customer, not heaven sent in terms of technique, but very awkward to defend against.
And I reckon in Argentina he's the best striker they have produced since the great Gabriel Batistuta, who burst onto the scene in this very tournament some 8 years ago now, in 1991. And of course he's been such a fabulous success in the Italian league.
I'm bound to say that it's night and day, in my opinion, between Batistuta and Palermo on the evidence of this Copa America. Batistuta would be outstanding, I'm sure, here for Argentina. He has been all season, but he got a nasty injury a couple of months before the end of the season, and he was badly missed by Fiorentina.
Yes, and he certainly is a tremendously gifted player. Argentina in control again. Uruguay had made a decent start to the second half, but that was quickly cancelled out by Palermo's goal.
Yeah, a goal at the start of each half has just put Argentina in easy street here. They're very, very comfortable. They can play it at walking pace. As long as they keep possession, that'll do for them. And if they get another goal, it's a bonus.
Zalayeta for Uruguay. Beautiful close control. The ball seems to be glued to his foot.
Yeah, but on his own as usual.
Yeah.
He's the one player who could change things, but he needs far, far better support than he's receiving tonight.
Schelotto. Tackle there by Magallanes. Coelho goes down and the challenge from Ayala. Magallanes thought about the shot, thought better of it. Zalayeta. He's done it again, he just drifts inside. Coelho can hit the ball if he gets an opening. But strangely enough, that was a deflected shot that could have found the target there from Pacheco. He and Coelho seem to be getting in each other's way.
Pacheco was right to hit it. He was facing the goal. He was right in line with the post, and he hit it very well. A good strike from Pacheco. It could have come in just below the bar, but unfortunately for him, it's over the top.
And the Argentine fans in celebratory mood now. Their team leading 2-0, and on the attack again here. Cross, chance for the third. Well, suddenly the first goal scorer, González, found himself free in the penalty area, but couldn't keep the shot low enough.
Good shot though, just past the post. Both he, González and Riquelme have wonderful left foot ability, and both strike the ball well. That was a great chance, but narrowly passed.
The two outstanding teams of the tournament so far, Craig, have been Brazil and Colombia. I just wonder where you'd rate Argentina against them. Let's hold on for a moment as Zalayeta takes Uruguay onto the attack. Argentina at their best, I would think, certainly good enough to give either Brazil or Colombia a decent game.
Yes, I'm sure they're very good defensively, and they've got a sparkling left side, González and Riquelme, but Ayala and Samuel at the back, very solid indeed. Vivas, comfortable at right back. They lack the flair that has been shown so far by Colombia and more particularly by Brazil, but a very compact side, difficult to beat, and that's without Batistuta.
Well, we may get the opportunity to see just how good they would be, because it looks as though at the moment Argentina are going to be playing Brazil in the quarter-final. But Uruguay aren't finished yet by any means. A little backheeler there by Zalayeta. I don't think he really knew where he was placing the ball, but it almost came off. However, it didn't, and Riquelme brings Argentina under a counter-attack now. Schelotto for them, looking for Palermo, and almost finding it. Headed away by Uigu. If this is Argentina at 3/4 pace, then, well, it's going to be a tremendous game if it is them and Brazil at the next stage. That certainly is one not to miss. In fact, from here on in, of course, with the knockout format taking over from the league table format, this competition is going to get better and better. How many defenders are surrounding the Uruguayan player, then 3 of them around him when danger threatened.
Good refereeing. I'm sure he thought that was a bit of play acting, and a good decision to give the free kick in that case against Palermo.
It looks like half the Paraguayan army have arrived and decided to change positions. There was some fear that there would be a little bit of trouble, of course, between the opposing fans at this game. There is a history of that going back many, many years. Unfortunately, so far, no problem.
No expense spared in security.
25 minutes remaining, just under. Argentina lead Uruguay by 2-0. If it stays that way, it takes Argentina on to 5 points. Colombia, the group winners, with 9. Uruguay obviously would stay on 3 points, but they would get through as a third-place team, go into the quarterfinals anyway, where they would face the host Paraguay in the capital city of Asuncion. Tough match that. Suitable moment to remind you that if Uruguay get back into this and force a draw, then it will be them playing Brazil rather than Argentina. Argentina will then meet Colombia. We'll be asking questions later. I hope you're following this.
I think Uruguay getting a draw here is unlikely. The 3 substitutes haven't made a big impression. They don't seem to have strength and depth. They can't produce players from the bench. Guigo, who come on in midfield, and Romero and Pacheco haven't made them much impression in the second half. So it's a similar story. Comfortable performance by Argentina, saving their energy for the big one against Brazil.
Vivas with a long ball. González heads it down. Lovely control then to play it out to Sorin on the left, and that's a good return ball. 2 in the box here. Pulls it back looking for Palermo. Schelotto was also waiting. Uruguay have survived for the moment. Magallanes in possession for them. Plays it early to one of the substitutes, Pacheco. Zalayeta doing well and winning a free kick.
Great attitude, Zalayeta there. Fouled yet again, up quickly, no histrionics, back into the action.
Magallanes thinking about a shot here. It's a fair old distance out, but there's a good view of how he will be seeing it. A good effort, but no, actually, when you think about it, the goalkeeper had that well covered anyway.
And in contrast to the opening goal for Argentina, a very solid wall, coordinated jump, everything tight about that defensive situation there, and as a result, no danger.
Much closer than it really was first time. 3/4 of the way through the match here in Luque. Argentina 2, Uruguay 0. Argentina looking good for a runners-up place now in Group C. Coelho with a through ball. There's danger here for Argentina, but they've looked pretty commanding defensively. They haven't had too many unpleasant moments at the back tonight. And a counter-attack with pace. Palermo. sure that's his game really, the little flicks like that. He's better doing what he does well.
Yeah, he's better facing the goal. That is not his best attribute. The technical ability, the fancy flicks, back heels and things like that.
Schelotto, Riquelme, Palermo, that's a good return ball. Riquelme with the shot.
A very good return ball. Unselfish one from Palermo, right into the path of Riquelme. Very two-footed guy. I was commenting on his ability with his left, but his right just put that over. I think he runs the ball more naturally on his right side, but the evidence of tonight would indicate that he shoots better on the left. A very two-footed player. But that one, corner kick, spun over the top. I don't think there would have been much danger had it been on target.
Pulled it in a little flat.
Yeah, poor corner on that occasion with his right foot. Don't know honestly what he was trying to do. I think possibly a near post ball, such as they did at the beginning of the match, and then they resorted to the long over the top to the back post.
Palermo is now joint leading scorer in the competition with 3 goals, so if he'd have managed to get just one of his penalties back to the net the other night, then he would have been out on his own in the scorers list. Uruguay coming forward again. But that's easy meat for goalkeeper Burgos. He's had a very quiet night.
Unfortunate, that's typical of Uruguay. Some neat play and then the final pass given away. That was a careless cross and comfortably handled by Burgos.
Dispirited at the moment, Uruguay, almost as though they realise the game's gone beyond them. Argentina, however, are in the mood for another. And back it goes to Schelotto. Beautifully done, but just wide.
That was brilliant play, and Schelotto tried to chip the goalkeeper. Had it gone in, it would have been a wonderful goal. But it went tantalisingly past her. Great 1-2, terrific pass back to him. And he did everything correctly, but just misjudged it.
Guillermo Barros Schelotto, to give him his full name, who is a club partner, of course, with Palermo in the Boca Junior attack.
Yes, they look a good pairing. They complement each other very well. We've got the big target man striker and the slick, swift Schelotto beside him who can pick up the scraps. But on that occasion he picked it up, but he flicked it over the top.
Zalayeta, who's been easily the outstanding player for Uruguay. Lost his feet momentarily, did well to recover. Coelho playing in onto Magallanes, and they had a man over at the back there but couldn't find him. Magallanes retained possession, however, and was rather let down by Romero, one of the substitutes. Schelotto didn't really bother with that one. I think he had one eye on the quarter-final there.
He did, and I think correctly so. You never like to see a player pulling out of a 50-50 challenge, but that was 70-30, and he correctly stepped aside. He'll be fit if he continues like that for the vital quarter-final match.
Meanwhile, Coach Bielsa, high in the stand, having been banished there by the referee, just sends some instructions down to his number 2, Vivas. Maybe a substitution in the offing, I wonder. 17 minutes to go. Argentina seemingly cruising, 2-0 up. See the free kick there. Bit of a dangerous challenge, but surely not a red card challenge. But the referee has decided that Arsenal's Nelson Vivas must go, and that rules him out of the quarter-final now. He had not been previously yellow carded. The referee saw that as a straight red. My initial reaction was that he went up with his elbow slightly high, but was it deliberate? The referee has decided it was.
I don't think any player in the field would think that was deliberate. He went up high, looking for the ball. The referee decided it was a deliberate elbow. And of course his decision was made a bit easier because of the reaction of the Uruguayan player, but I feel sorry for Vivas.
Yes, endorse those comments, and that's now the 12th red card in the Copa America. There were 13 in all during the 97 tournament. Of course, we've still got a few games to go. 3 red cards in Group A, 5 in Group B so far, and now that's 4 in this group, Group C. So the referees, who I thought, and most people agreed, made a sensible approach to the opening games, seem to have really clamped down in the last few. Whether that was under FIFA orders, perhaps, official or unofficial, who knows. Here's Coelho, Magallanes, who's already been sent off himself in this tournament. Just a little over 15 minutes to go, and that's the last thing Argentina needed. They didn't want any injuries, they didn't want any red cards, because it looks as though they got the 3 points. However, Vivas of Arsenal dismissed, cannot play in the quarter-final. They do have a natural replacement in Ibarra, who was picked ahead of him in the first game anyway, but that's a big disappointment for the Arsenal man.
And it looks as though they've put Cagna back to right full-back, and Schelotto playing off the front, leaving one striker up on his own. So it's the 4-4-1 formation now, minus Vivas, of course.
Argentina's second red card of the tournament after Zanetti, and remember they couldn't pick Ortega either because of his red card in the World Cup quarterfinals last summer, which led to a 3-match ban which carried on into this tournament.
Yeah, you wonder if he'll get more than a 1-match ban for that elbowing offence, or alleged elbowing offence. So I think a tactical substitution here, take off a striker, bring on a midfield player to bolster this in the middle of the park for the final 10 minutes or so.
Yes, Pochettino coming on in his place. He's another who plays in the Spanish league. He's with Espanyol, tall player. He normally plays in the centre of defence or in front of the back four. The through ball there by Palermo. Argentina still looking good. Riquelme with a little ball forward now. Ball. Simeone involved in a little incident. I'm not sure what, to be honest with you, but a free kick's gone Argentina's way, whatever. And remember, they scored from further out than this in the opening couple of minutes. It wasn't a handball, it was obviously foot too high, indirect free kick.
Yeah, both feet were up high, but he's penalised the defender. Certainly was showing 6 studs there, but it was harmless in my opinion.
I wonder if Uruguay would have learned their lesson from that early free kick. They were slow to react when the ball was tapped short to González, who punished them in fine style. This is indirect, so it has to be played off, whatever happens. If you fancy a crack on target here, it's an excellent position. Perhaps Palermo is the man being lined up to hit it.
And the wall's sensibly, it's not 10 yards, but that's what you do when you defend.
And the goalkeeper forced to make a save. The wall suddenly disappeared, but Carini was on his toes, and it was as well he was.
Carini did well, because I'm sure he would see that ball late, and he got a hand to it, and this 19-year-old has looked good.
Riquelme again showing what a naturally two-footed player he is. Well, Palermo, who was the villain the other night, something of a hero tonight, and to preserve him for what looks now like a quarter-final against Brazil, the coach is taking him off. That's going to be a real shoving up he's got there, I would think, tomorrow morning. Well, coming from Argentina, he should be able to find a stake to put on it anyway. But off he goes in the final 12 minutes.
Off to look for a stake.
And off to have thoughts of finishing perhaps top goal scorer in the competition. Right up there with the others now on 3, remember. And he's got at least 1 more game to go. Seems you can't keep Palermo out of the news, whatever happens. Cagna in possession.
interesting substitutions by Bielsa. He's taken off Schelotto, brought on Pochettino, and he's to support midfield. But it's striker for striker. Lopez plays up front, so Lopez will be a straight replacement for Palermo. We'll continue with the 4-4-1 formation, I feel sure, to run out time here. But we've got a free kick which could add to the tally if one of these shots getting target, similar to the opening goal.
Sorin, the player brought down this time. Plenty of options over the ball here. I would think it will be Riquelme, who's got his eye in and was very close from the previous free kick. Oh, clever little effort. Oh, if that had been finished off with a goal by the substitute Lopez, it would have been memorable.
What did I say in the first half about the set pieces of Argentina? They're the best in the world, in my opinion. That was absolutely magnificent. His touch there, he didn't wait until it came down. He was too anxious, and had he just delayed half a second, he would have managed to keep that in below the bar, and that would have been one of the goals of the tournament. Magnificent free kick.
And you would have thought at this stage we'd all have seen every option, every possible free kick, but they keep coming up with new ones, Argentina.
They do. There's someone there with great imagination. I think the whole nation, of course, has got creativity in terms of football, and they show great resourcefulness, terrific initiative when it comes to set pieces, and it's a model for everyone in the world to see.
10 minutes remaining in Luque. Argentina lead by 2-0. But under threat here from the run by Del Campo, who's earned his side a corner.
Yeah, I'm talking about that set piece, Alan. You don't do that with just one practice. That's practice, practice, practice to get the timing of that and the precision of that free kick. Even gifted players need to get plenty of practice in the training ground.
Back in, Zalayeta. Misjudged the bounce slightly there. Argentine fans going through their little repertoire of songs now. Feeling pretty confident, even though the side has been reduced to 10 men, that they're going to win this and go on to meet the mighty Brazil in the quarterfinals. Brazil against Argentina. It's got a wonderful ring to it, that fixture.
Yeah, that's one to savour, and I'm sure we'll see contrasting styles. We'll see the efficiency of Argentina against the flair of Brazil.
Danger here, though, for Argentina. I wouldn't want to concede a late goal now. It would give them a scary finale to this game, since they do only have 10 men after the sending off of Vivas, but they're doing the opposite, and Lopez is carrying them forward. The third goal would surely clinch it. Well, it's a great run. When he played it back, he played it to a defender rather than a teammate, but a wonderful piece of skill there by Lopez.
They received a great pass from Riquelme. The weight of the pass was unbelievable, and they made the most of it, cut it back, but unfortunately Riquelme wasn't up quickly enough to finish the cross.
Just thinking about that likely quarter-final against Brazil, the seeding committee, of course, had assumed that Brazil would win their group. They were right there, and assumed that Argentina would win theirs, and therefore they were set not to meet until the final. Well, that went wrong because Argentina hadn't won the group, and a match that certainly would have graced the final is now going to take place at the quarter-final stage.
It'll be the final before the final. I'm sure you're right. The organisers would have anticipated Argentina winning this group, and they would have played Brazil, or a chance of playing Brazil in the final. But you know, we're getting a dream quarter-final, and we'll look forward to that.
Colombia certainly have been the surprise packet, if you like, in this group. Maximum 9 points. They won earlier tonight against Ecuador, who ended up with nothing. Ecuador and Venezuela were certainly the weakest nations here. Japan got themselves a point in their final game. Now Burgos has gone on walkabout. It's quite sensible. emotions, as though they really believe they can get back into this game. And they may be right, certainly in terms of the scoreline and the time remaining. Just a little over 5 minutes.
Yes, and Pacheco running offside there. The Argentinians now are holding the line a bit better. They're pushing up, and the over-enthusiasm of the substitute Pacheco cost him an offside decision.
Called cyclist of Jose Peckerman, who has had a very successful career running the junior teams, national teams for Argentina. Another of the coaching staff with Bielsa. Bielsa presumably can come back from the stand and take his place on the bench for that quarter-final. I don't think the ban on him exceeded this game.
You're right, there's a feature of the South American top countries where they bring them right through the system. They come from the youth team, the under-21 team, and eventually into the full national team. And we see that with Uruguay here with their new young side, all coming from the Malaysian under-20 team, and many youngsters from Argentina coming right through the system.
And with 5 minutes to go here, assuming there is no change in the scoreline, the quarterfinals have taken shape now. On Saturday, it's going to be Peru against Mexico in Asuncion, and Paraguay against Uruguay, also in Asuncion. A change of venue there. They'll now both be in the capital city. Zaragoza, meantime, trying to get Uruguay on the score sheet, but fails. Those two matches then on Saturday: Peru, Mexico, Paraguay, Uruguay. And on Sunday, now it'll be Colombia against Chile on this ground here in Luque. And as we've mentioned several times, Brazil will play Argentina in Ciudad del Este. So Argentina moving out of their base of Luque, where they played all three of their first round matches. Late change here for Argentina. To take off Cagna and replace him with Claudio Hussein. He's had a very successful club career in recent years with Vélez Sarsfield.
I think he'll probably come into midfield because Pochettino has gone to right back in place of Vivas. It was Cagna for a spell, but they've moved him and now they've replaced him. And Pochettino, I think, will stay holding the line at the right back position, and Hussein come into midfield.
Wigu with a long ball. No offside decision, surprisingly. There was a chance again for the substitute Pacheco, who's had a couple of half chances. That was a bit more than that since he came on.
Yeah, that went tantalisingly over Ayala's head, and Pacheco was in good position. He shot rather hurriedly again, probably had more time than he knew he had. He could have switched feet and opened up the angle and tried a better finish, but all credit to him. He's playing off the last defender, sometimes too enthusiastically, getting into offside positions, but by and large he's been one of the better substitutes.
I'm going to put you on the spot now, Craig, looking at those quarter-finals. Peru, Mexico, who do you fancy there?
Well, I've seen both, and I think Mexico are the better side.
Paraguay, Uruguay, home advantage for Paraguay.
Paraguay, well, the home side, you know, must progress to the semi-final, and they'll have the support of the crowd. And I think Uruguay look a bit dispirited here, and they'll have to improve their performance to give Paraguay a game.
And then the Sunday quarter-finals, Colombia against Chile.
Well, Colombia, a flair team, Chile very efficient, and I suspect that maybe Chile could win that one.
And then the hardest one to call, Brazil against Argentina.
Well, I think you know my preference there. We've been drooling over Brazil in this tournament, and I think they have the edge, but it'll be interesting to see how they compete against a very experienced Argentinian defence.
So Craig Brown going for Peru, Paraguay, Colombia and Brazil as the semi-final lineup. And I don't think too many people would disagree with him there. I wonder if there might be at least one shock in store, though.
Well, the shock could be provided by Argentina, because you know their capability over the years. They've won this tournament, I think we said 14 times, and Brazil have won it only 5 times. So the form book would point to Argentina.
Still looking for a third clinching goal here, but it won't come from this attack. final minute in Luque, and Argentina, thanks chiefly to that early goal which helped to settle them down, are about to clinch a pretty comfortable victory in the end against Uruguay.
A good game of football, albeit a bit low-key, but some impressive set pieces from Argentina, good individual performances, and no trouble. I know we had an ordering off and 3 yellow cards, but it hasn't been a dirty game at all. A pleasant evening, played in good spirit.
Yes, it's a shame really, the red card for Vivas, out of context with the rest of the game. And, well, arguably unnecessary, a bit overzealous on the referee's part.
And clearly Argentina just playing out time with 3 at the back now. They've pushed an extra man up front, and they've got the 3-4-2 formation. They must feel comfortable. Really, the only threat up front was Zalaieta, and he's got no support.
I'll tell you one thing, the atmosphere on Sunday in Ciudad del Este is going to be very special. Brazil, of course, have got some of the most colourful fans in the world as Zalaieta tries to finish off. Sorry, not Zalaieta, Pacheco trying to finish off in style for Uruguay, but I'm afraid to say for the 3rd time since he came on, made a mess of it.
Yeah, good delivery from Zalaieta into his path, and it wasn't good finishing. He's had a couple of chances, Pacheco, and unfortunately for Uruguay hasn't taken them.
Yes, on and off the field, as I was saying, Brazil against Argentina really is a match to relish on Sunday. See it live, of course, all the quarterfinals, and indeed all the remaining matches in the Copa America will all be live.
Now what they're going to do this time? I eagerly anticipate every free kick that is taken by Argentina.
Lopez shaping up as though he might fancy a shot himself here, let's see. No, there is another little trick, another little twist in the tail, there always is. Expect the unexpected when Argentina get a free kick.
Yeah, that was a fairly orthodox one, but the delivery was just over the top. But you can see that they've worked at it, they're trying things, they're not just having a blind swipe at a shot at goal, they're trying to create.
We'll have Ortega available for selection for the quarter-final. Very important player. They won't have Arsenal's Nelson Vivas, who was sent off. Sadly, the only black mark, that dismissal for Argentina on a very successful night when they took an early lead from a free kick. González firing the ball home from 20 yards, and then Palermo made it 2-0, and Argentina have duly taken their place in the quarter-finals.
Thanks to Craig Brown and to Alan Parry. Then Argentina satisfy their demanding public at home, at least until the weekend. Bobby Gould, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that Argentina went out there with the object of winning the game. A lot of controversy before what the circumstances were going to be because of the situation of the group, but there's no way that they wanted to lose that game.
Graham Souness?
Yeah, I thought Argentina won quite easily. I thought they dominated the game and just played well within themselves. Uruguay huffed and puffed. They won't be disappointed that they're going into the next phase with a young team like that.
Right, let's just sum up at this point, shall we, the progress as we complete the group phase at Copa America 1999. The teams in red are the teams that will be going forward to the weekend. From Group A, Paraguay and Peru. In Group B, Brazil, Mexico and Chile. 3 more from Group C, Colombia, winners of that group tonight with a perfect return so far. Argentina and Uruguay all going through. And now to the quarter-final lineup. On Saturday it'll be Peru against Mexico, followed by Paraguay against Uruguay, and on Sunday Colombia against Chile, followed by Brazil against Argentina. Last time they met, quarter-finals, what, 4 years ago in the Copa America? It went to penalties to sort it out. Argentina will be lifted visibly, and one can imagine, Bobby, at home that the pressure will be off, at least until the weekend. Do you feel, and I think Graham suggested this to us earlier, this can be a springboard for Argentina? They've got a decent result under their belts.
Yeah, and all to play for now with the magic yellow and green shirt coming in front of them in the next game.
It's going to be a great
It really will be. It's a game that nobody in football would want to miss viewing or seeing.
If they were nervy at the start tonight, getting a goal in only just over the minute, that's the dream, isn't it?
It is for any team, really. But once again, you know, at international level, you shouldn't give free kicks away like that. You know, he's just gone running into him. He's turned him over, well rehearsed, as we've seen throughout the rest of the evening. Their free kicks have been very, very courageous and innovative in the way that they want to create an effort at goal all the time.
What do we judge from that reception to the goal? Phew.
Well, I keep going back. It's a disappointing goal from the other side. I have to say, innovative is a great word at this time in the morning, but I have to say that.
Sadly for Uruguay, they didn't really innovate enough in the first period.
No, for me they huffed and puffed throughout the game. But they're a young team. They're only going to get better. They'll be better for that experience today or tonight, playing in that against the quality of Argentina. But for me, Argentina always had another gear. They could step up any time. There were some signs there for me that, you know, that they could still be one of the teams in the competition to be, you know, okay, the next time out this is going to be the hardest game possible, but I wouldn't put it past them getting a result against Brazil. They've got a belief, and with the Latin mentality, Paul, it's black and white. You know, they've won tonight. Now they're great players and a great team again. You know, after the last result, they were the worst players that Argentina have ever had, and they're the worst team Argentina have ever put on a football pitch. Tonight they're a great team again. But that is the Latin mentality. Those players will go to bed tonight knowing they're now great players again, and they'll be looking forward to the game against Brazil. But that's how it is out there.
I just feel that the situation with Uruguay is that they're short on front players. You know, if you look at any great teams, they've always got great front players. And this lad, Palmero here, just watch his expression. Graham says, how did he feel when he scored that goal? You know. And
yeah, I mean, see, we talk about him scoring the goal, but he wins the header from the cross. He wins the initial header, and he ends up getting the ball back to put the ball in the net from this man. But he gets the black eye, I presume, in this first challenge, the one that doesn't show up, where he's won the challenge to head it down. But I just always felt they were well in control, Argentina. You know, they had their moments, Uruguay, but I always felt they were huffing and puffing. There was nothing clinical and exact about them. It was all huff and puff.
I just think your front men have got to play well, and especially at this level. If you go through the likes of Ronaldo and Amoroso for Brazil, they've been outstanding. They really have. The way they've contributed towards the team as a defensive force to stop the ball going forward, and then in an attacking force. And I just think these two teams might be just missing Uruguay 2 players, and
that would have been a great goal. That would have been a great goal.
Argentina just won.
That was maybe the best passing movement in the whole game, and his finishing was just a little bit off. But they showed in one or two flashes tonight. This is a sending off.
What do you think about this?
Well, we've not really got a clear view of it from here we go. He's gone in there to protect himself, Vivas. I don't think he's gone in there to deliberately hurt the player. But the referee's closest to the situation. That's how he saw it, and he's made his decision on that.
There's another innovative free kick there, Graham.
Another great one.
Will
there be innovating fresh free kicks for the weekend?
This is a good one. This is a good one.
That's magic. The timing. You need an equity card as well, because you're acting. That's all you're doing. You're acting, and then all of a sudden your timing of the run, the delivery, and the lad just didn't get it down low.
Look at the defenders in the bottom of the picture. The same as the free kick in the first minute. They're defending too deep. It's too late to get into that.
No coaching seminar now. How are Uruguay going to fare against Paraguay, do you think, Bobby?
Paraguay, no doubt about that. And then I think in the next game, the first game, Mexico can have a problem because they'll miss Blanco. Ferdinand might be just the fella, but for me, Paraguay and Mexico will go through.
How about Argentina's chances from here then?
I don't think it's impossible for them to beat Brazil. I think, you know, given the track record against them, beat them last time out in Rio when they met, and they have that many good players on the night. You asked me to say black or white.
No, I'm saying there's a 10 of Brazil.
You don't gamble. I don't gamble.
You don't gamble?
No, but
Brazil.
I think they have the players to beat Brazil.
Brazil by 2 clear goals.
You really are that confident?
Oh, they've been outstanding.
To this point they have, yes.
To this point. But I just think they're so far in front of Argentina.
I think it's like when you play squash or tennis, you need to be playing people better than you all the time to bring you on. And I think tonight you saw an Argentinian team that's got another gear and can go and play far better than they did tonight. And they have the players, and if they get it right tonight, they can beat anybody.
They've got one extra player to call in, Ariel Ortega, who has proven himself in a World Cup last year as a potential threat against the best in the world. Does he get in this starting lineup for the weekend, back from suspension?
Well,
and I have to say also a free kick expert, as if they needed another one.
But we said at the start of the evening, you know, this Argentina lost last time out. The managers turned and said, hey chaps, get out there, and you're the ones that got yourselves into the mess, get yourselves out of the mess. Now, we talk about the confidence aspect, and maybe after tonight he will run with the same and start with the same 11, with the exception being Vivas, of course.
I'm just going to ask you to close it then. Who do you see getting through? Bobby's already told us that he definitely sees Paraguay knocking Uruguay out. Peru against Mexico, Graham, your thought on that?
I think that could go either way. I think Mexico in the World Cup showed that they were a good team, and I think as any of these competitions go on and grow, the teams get better and better. And if you remember the World Cup, Mexico got better and better.
Yes, they did.
I'll go Mexico, Paraguay, Colombia and Brazil.
Do you want to sum it up?
I'll go, well, if you've taken Colombia, I've got to go for Chile then. I'll take Chile. I'll take
another
Chile.
Tremendous game on Sunday.
Chile, Argentina and Paraguay, Mexico.
4:15, you're disagreeing still.
I just want to go to bed.
Get used to it. Really enjoyed your company, Graham Souness. Thank you very much indeed. And also to Bobby Gould. Bobby and Graham will be part of our team over the weekend as the Copa America moves now onto the knockout phase then. Saturday night at just after 8 o'clock on Sky Sports 2. Peru against Mexico, live, followed by Paraguay against Uruguay. Thoughts of Mr. Gould will be interesting on that one. He'll only have himself to agree with or disagree with. Graham Souness will be back on Sunday night. Colombia against Chile. We start at 7:35, Sky Sports 2, followed by the game of the round, Brazil against Argentina. All 4 quarterfinals are live over the weekend. We hope to have the pleasure of your company for them as well. Hope very much you've enjoyed this show from the team. It's bye for now.
Also ready for the off, but we still await the Colombians to get in position. It might give me a chance just to run through. I've been referring to this all-star team that's been voted by the journalists. Chile's Ramirez in goal, Quintana and Bermudez of Colombia, plus Gamara of Paraguay, and Brazil's Roberto Carlos at the back. In midfield, Palacios of Peru, Simeone of Argentina, Betancourt of Colombia, and up front Ronaldo, plus the 2 Paraguayans, Santa Cruz and Benitez, whose penalty failure yesterday was so costly for the host nation. Colombia have brought on Ramirez, who is a defensive midfield player for Bolaño, who, apart from scoring in the first half, you might recall also had to go off for a period of treatment. So whether it's tactical or whether it's an injury, I'm not quite sure.
Designed to upset the commentators because we have 2 Ramirez in the Chilean side, and now we've got 1 playing for Colombia.
This Ramirez, the number 6 for the Colombians, is Juan Carlos Ramirez from the Junior Barranquilla club. There's a bang in the back for Betancourt.
That was a hefty one from behind, and I'm sure he's at least winded, maybe even more than winded, because that was a strong challenge. All credit to him for getting up so promptly, I feel, after that challenge.
He missed a couple of years of potential international football because of a sending off in a Pan American tournament, which is not of senior international status, but the punishments are still used by the South American Federation. So he's got some lost time to make up for, and he's certainly shown that incentive in this competition. He's waiting for the ball here. Ale Betancourt.
I think at age 24 to lose 2 years out of your career is quite a chunk, and hopefully he'll have an uninterrupted remainder to his career.
Well, Chile settled the quicker of the two teams in the first half. There is a gusty wind here in Luque. At times it's made the play look a little bit laboured, and Craig Brown was saying to me at half-time, at times Colombia have dropped almost to Valderrama pace.
I felt so, Martin. I thought that Valderrama was such an influence for many years in the Colombian style of play, and you correctly said at the beginning that they've changed since he's retired from international football, but it was a Valderrama type performance I felt in the first half.
González eased unfairly off the ball by Jorge Bermudez, the big man at the back, the captain of Colombia. Trying to impose himself on these early minutes of the second half. Certainly Chile had a greater share of possession in the first half, but Colombia took their chances. González. Crossed by Quintana. And Bonilla coming in behind Vargas. Maybe surprised that the ball was allowed to travel that far.
Yes, he positioned himself perfectly for the cross in between the two defenders, but he was very, very unmarked and had a good clear header. Good positioning from the striker. Bonilla did well to get in there, but I think he'll be slightly disappointed he didn't get more forehead on that final header.
By his goal, Colombia still lead. Palacios being pressed. Uruguay, remember, await the winners in the semi-finals. They're a team that Colombia have already beaten in the group stage. Aros. Chile still very much in the picture here. González. Kept in by Este. Down goes Palacios. We won't want to be giving away free kicks in this part of the pitch on a regular basis. It invites pressure. Sort of pressure that in the end did for Peru in the late stages of the first quarter-final yesterday. And there's a run around the back. Another ball into the far post. And Reyes, the big man. It's 2-2.
A great delivery. That was a wonderful ball, played in the left foot, in swinging over the top of everyone, and Reyes timed his run to perfection. Again, very, very disappointingly unmarked from the Colombian point of view, but they should have learned, and they haven't learned a lesson in the first half. And up goes the big Auxerre defender. This is a brilliantly flighted ball. In he comes round the back, and a great down header. First class equaliser there. Terrific play, very poor defending, we've got to say, yet again.
Well, it was unmarked from a corner, and now at the far post, coming deep on proceedings, and what a return to the team for Reyes. And the whistle has gone to stop Chile getting in with a chance of going in front for the first time. Pedro Reyes, who played impressively in the World Cup finals in France to get a move to France, to Auxerre. And Nelson Acosta, the Chilean coach has rather stuck with his World Cup squad. It's not been the same for other countries here who were involved in France a year ago. He's got the bulk of the men who did the nation proud. Reyes was one of those, and my goodness, he's doing Chile proud here in testing circumstances. And here's González, and Chile really with their tails up now. And they've reached the tally of 60 goals for the tournament. This is game 21. Este, Craig Brown quite correctly said just before half-time that he didn't think we'd seen the end of the scoring.
But I didn't think it would be a defender coming up again. I thought that we may get a goal from one of the very bright attacking players. We've got 4 good strikers in view, and I would like to think that we might get some goals from them still. But only of the strikers, I think only Bonilla has scored.
There he is. Well, that surely should have been a free kick to Colombia. The referee trying to keep the flow to the game. All credit to him for that. Certainly not been brandishing yellow cards hither and thither. The team in yellow shirts have been twice in front and twice have lost that lead. Can they edge ahead again? Quintana. To Ricard. We're still in the early minutes of this second half as Lozano sets off on a forward run. And Quintana has done well until it came to the cross. And two of his teammates shoot angry glances at him.
I think in fairness, I've said in parts of the pitch are quite bumpy and others are very smooth, and I think he was unfortunate there. That ball bobbled for him because it was an uncharacteristic attempt to cross the ball, and I'm sure he can do much better on a normal surface.
Lozano. Only a change of pace again. Here's Ricard also doing the same. His cross just too far behind Bonilla for him to react. But the ball has gone behind. Palacios is angry about that, the decision that's been given. Good response by Colombia though.
Yeah, I don't know how Palacios can judge because his eyes were thoroughly fixed on that ball, and yet when he cleared it he was complaining. And I think the referee, assisted by the assistant referee, I keep calling him linesman still, but decided that it was a corner.
Corner taken by Grisales. Bit of a shoving on the jump by Bermudez. This match really supposed to be the hors d'oeuvre with the main feast to come between Brazil and Argentina. But it's tasty here in Luque. A 2-2. And Cordoba just able to shepherd the ball back under pressure from González. Nice sporting touch between the two players.
Yeah, this is a good appetizer, Martin, and if we get 4 goals inside an hour in the next game, everyone will be very happy.
Ricard. He has to play it back. Ramirez. Cortés. He played it 1-2 off Palacios. It was a quick reaction. And Betancourt stole in there very craftily. Now Grisales. Barros trying to buy Chile a bit of time. Sierra, though, came in rashly, and it's a free kick to Colombia.
Great ball across there from Betancourt. He got down to that left byline and whipped the ball over the top, but it was just too far, unfortunately, for Grisales.
Bermudez is there again. Grisales to take the free kick.
ball in, well defended this time, but it was a tempting one, teasing the defence.
Moved back by Lozano. Kily trying to force Colombia back. It's 2-2. Lozano, who is a rare survivor in this squad from the group of players that went to the World Cup finals in the USA 5 years ago now, and scored a goal in that tournament as well, as Colombia made their way out in the group stages. An exit that had, of course, tragic consequences, as many of you might recall. But Lozano is still around, and he's trying to be a major figure, using his experience at a difficult period in the match for Colombia.
Yeah, Lozano at age 27 is one of the more experienced Colombian players, which is a testimony to the fact that Javier Alvarez is a young chap himself, and he's throwing young players in, and they're doing exceptionally well for him. But they're depending on guys like Lozano and Bonilla and Bermúdez, the older ones, to look after them, and they're doing that very well.
Well, the group matches, they're really jockeying for position and just making sure of qualification, but this is when the tournament really hots up, and Chile certainly have been pretty mediocre until this stage, and now with a chance, you win a match, you go through to the semi-finals. They've come out here with a much better mentality, and it's produced a much better performance.
Good shot from Este there, but it was rising all the time, well over, but it's worth a try, and hit it very well. We see again Palacios creating down the right side, giving us width, and in the middle four, Barros on the left, but the player that they're failing to get contact with often enough is Sierra, sitting off the front two. So they've got the 3-4-1-2 formation, but Sierra, unfortunately, isn't getting enough of the ball.
That's been Nelson Acosta's preferred strategy. And he's keeping faith with it here. González, Palacios. Now Aros on that left-hand side. Remember, neither of these nations have ever won the Copa America. Colombia were runners-up in 1975. Peru beat them in the final. 4 years ago they reached the semi-finals, but lost to Uruguay and eventually finished third. Bermúdez and Lozano remain from that team, plus the colourful René Higuita, who's the backup goalkeeper at the moment. And Acuna losing possession, and it's given some space to Betancourt. Well, there was only really one target for Hamilton Ricard to try and pick out in the penalty area. Bonilla, his strike partner, he did that. Bonilla, with his back to the goal, didn't sense what support was coming.
And the Chile defenders got back very quickly. That was a good chance of a quick counter-attack there, but all credit to the Chilean players who came back in numbers, and by the time the ball got to Bonilla, he was well marshalled, in fact surrounded.
This is Palacios. Chile came through by finishing third in Group B. It's the winners of Group C, the so-called Group of Death. There's nothing between them on the scoreline, and they're really in the shape of the game, with Colombia still looking dangerous, and now the referee has decided that although he's tried to keep the match within the spirit of the occasion, that the challenge by Acuna was worthy of a yellow card.
It was indeed. It was a hefty challenge. Acuna, no need for it, and very often that's the case, but he went in heavily. He doesn't seem to be too perturbed about it, but another yellow and he could be out if they get through to the semi-final.
Out of this game is Hamilton Ricard, who's been replaced by Edwin Congo, who scored the second goal against Argentina with that close-range flick, a match that I'm sure you've seen plenty of. The major incidents have been shown over and over again. Once more, it's a leggy run from Lozano. Edwin Congo, who plays for Real Madrid and has been called in the Spanish press the new Hugo Sanchez at that club. Quite a tough billing to live up to. Zamorano. Well, the ball sat up to be hit, and another yellow card. Cordoba.
That was a good decision because Cordoba did leave his leg in, I felt. The leg was in late, and the heel, in fact, which is very, very sore if you get that down your shin. Even with the shin guards there, I feel that the referee was justified in giving the yellow card.
So it's another free kick and another chance either to go the direct route, and this angle suits the left footer Sierra. And Reyes could have possibly come up with a headed hat-trick in the Copa America. Sierra, one of those half and half balls that could find its way directly into the net, could get a touch with friend or foe to deceive a goalkeeper.
It's an annoying ball in from the attacker's point of view when it's stopped by the first defender there.
Is Sierra perhaps annoyed because he's pumped up to play another ball in that's on the short side, unfortunately for him. Grisales. Touched by Bonilla, his new strike partner with the departure of Ricard is Congo.
Yes, Congo's gone right in, Martin to replace Ricard up front at the pier.
There's a bit of a hand-off by Palacios. Cortez. Room for Grisales. That's Bonilla still. Well, the first block did just enough. Although Bonilla kept chasing, the angle was getting wider. It was Reyes who made it more difficult for the Colombian striker.
Good credit to Bonilla. He kept his balance after the first tackle. He stayed on his feet and was first to the ball, but good goalkeeping to narrow the angle, and he had little target left after the first tackle. But he did exceptionally well, and a nice flick with the outside of the foot. Could have found the net, but he was too close to the byline.
Well, Chile, can they get in front for the first time here? It's a wonderful opportunity. They lead by 3 goals to 2. Ivan Zamorano with a real captain's contribution. 19 minutes into the second half. He left Colombia trailing in his wake.
That was a wonderful piece of finishing. A half chance, a counter-attack. He went brilliantly forward, took his time and placed the ball expertly past the despairing Calero. Excellent finishing by Zamorano, who has the reputation for goal scoring at international level. Well done indeed.
Well, the big stage so often brings the best out of the big names. Zamorano has not performed up to expectations in the group matches, and he's been somewhat let down by his teammates in the general pattern of Chile performances up until today. But they have played well enough over the 65 minutes that we've had to say that they deserve to be in front, although they've had to wait a long time for it, having been 1-0 down and 2-1 down.
And that was great play, 1 against 1 in the goalkeeper. Terrific, with Cortez breathing down his neck as well. Zamorano did brilliantly there. That was absolutely sensational. Difficult situation to go past the goalkeeper at pace. He did so in expert fashion.
So colleague, we often talk about teams or countries that are tournament tough. Maybe don't go into a competition with all guns blazing early on, but work their way into what's required and have something left when it's required. When the knockout phases come, well, you could say that about Chile.
Yes, I would suspect that's the case.
Going to be another booking here for Betancourt. And it's all going wrong for Colombia.
Yeah, Colombia look to have less determination, less appetite now, and Chile seem to have this winning streak, this winning pedigree. They're desperate to go on and succeed here, and you can see the added determination that they've had, and I felt it's been there right from the start of the match.
So many of these players have been to the World Cup. They've clearly benefited from that. They got Chile into the knockout phase. They had a major challenge in that respect when they were paired with Brazil. They had a lot of suspensions to cope with in that game in Parc des Princes, and did, despite that 4-1 final scoreline, play with a lot of nobility, if you like.
They did not badly not so long ago against their team at Wembley. I can't remember the name of it. Offside was given and correctly given. I was just saying they did well at Wembley, Martin.
They did very well at Wembley, yes.
So they have a bit of pedigree. And 14 of the 22 players were in France for the World Cup, and you can see the understanding that they've got.
In only one goal in their 3 group games, and here they are, 3-2 down. Still a quarter of this match left. Bonilla.
As we see it, the build-up still slow, studied, painstaking. There isn't the electric burst that we sometimes got from Asprilla and Freddie Rincon. Its pace is very slow and deliberate. They keep possession nicely. You see it's neat passing, but we need the surge. We need the explosive surge into the penalty box. It's not forthcoming tonight.
I wonder whether the 16-year-old who's caused such excitement here, Johnny Montano, who certainly does have a change of pace and a really ambitious outlook, whether they will look to him. But the risk as Colombia press on, well, they were caught by a ball that Zamorano chased as he knifed into the heart of their defending. And now they're in big trouble.
Yeah, again, Zamorano did very well there. That was excellent.
Pizarro, one of the Chilean youngsters, has come on. And González is replaced by Nedar Morantes, who's a similar player to Betancourt. Morantes scored in the one game in which he's played against Ecuador. And he provided the key to a comeback. Barros. Will it be a case of the team who scored first and will go out in the quarter-final as it was yesterday with Peru and with Paraguay? Palacios, no nonsense stuff from him. Still 20 minutes left. Congo trying to make something happen for Colombia. And the ball was certainly played and the challenge. Despite the Colombian whistles to get the referee to do the same, Vargas was the defender who had to make sure he timed that tackle, and time it he did.
Yes, it was a wonderful tackle. Took a risk tackling almost from behind there, but got the ball cleanly, didn't impede the striker. Wonderful saving tackle.
Very put yourself in the place of Javier Alvarez here, and is there anything that you could see that could be changed to improve Colombia's lot?
Well, not knowing too much about the players on the bench, I would think that with the ones we have here, we must get the ball forward far more quickly. We've seen strikers there waiting in vain. Lanier looks capable, they'll be new when Edwin Congo on, and they're not going to do anything unless they get early supply of the ball. That's the wonderful tackle, outstanding timing of that, and that was a saving one. But they need to close the game up as well. They're still keeping a long open pitch there. They want to get closed up, show a bit more urgency if they've got to get an equaliser here.
Breaks going Chile's way as well as that deflected to Zamorano.
He does that so well, getting in front of the defender. The defender thinks he's got time to clear, but Zamorano is a real test. He's a real carrier there. He's getting in, he's blocking clearances, and it's quite obvious that they've been instructed no time in the ball for the back players of Colombia. They must be pressurised, and he's doing it brilliantly.
Tried to turn again, but couldn't take the ball with him. Steered wide by Zamorano, who's got deeper to help support. Barros, who didn't spot him, and here come Colombia at pace. This is the sort of speed with which they caught the eye in their group games. Quintana.
That's exactly it, Martin. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Pace down the side, get the ball in early, and Quintana did it very, very well, but the ball was played too far across and the chance was lost. But now we're talking from the Colombian point of view. We must get that urgency if they're going to have any chance of equalising.
Into the choice of midfield player David Pizarro, who's contracted now to Udinese in Italy. He's only 20 years old. He's been brought on at an important time in this game. He's looking to close down here. Oh, and the goalkeeper deceived by the shot from Lozano, but he kept it out, and that's all that matters at this stage.
Yeah, again, a lot more urgency. Good long-range shot there. Caused a bit of problem because it was bouncing right in front of the goalkeeper, and he did very well, Ramirez, just to get it clear. But had there been someone falling up, it could have been a real problem for Chile.
It's going to be a real fight to the finish here in Luque. Nelson Acosta, who's the only coach who's kept his job since the last Copa America. And there have been plenty of suggestions that he would be losing it after this tournament. Not if Chile could see it through into the semi-finals. And to that end, another goal would be a wonderful help. They've got a free kick here a long way out. Not so far out to temper the ambition. Just over 15 minutes left. Colombia in something of a quandary. That's Morantes who gets it back. The sleight of foot not working for him. The risk, of course, as Colombia chase is that Chile can pick them off on the break.
That's a real danger, because with Zamorano up front, anything can happen, and if they're too careless and go charging forward without locking the back door, that's what will happen.
Palacios with the header. Will it drop? Not quite for Este, and here's a chance to wrap it all up. And my goodness, the goalkeeper has kept Colombia in with a chance. Pedro González had time to assess, to realise where he was, and he looked to power it past Calero.
Yes, if he just pulls that back, 2 strikers waiting, 2 red shirts, back 3 red shirts waiting to finish it off, but the temptation to shoot was too great, and González, a prolific goal scorer, wanted to do it on his own.
Here's Bonilla. No, the flag is up against Congo.
And rightly so, Congo offside, but this is end-to-end stuff now. The game is really opened out. Yeah, Congo's offside. Had it come through a little earlier, he was okay, but he ran on and beyond the last defender, and there he was, only the goalkeeper between him and the goal, and offside.
Could we possibly get another 3-3, as happened yesterday? And Colombia looking for that. They've got a corner. Again Congo trying to get in the spaces between the defenders.
He's made a difference. I think he should, of course, coming on as a substitute, should be fresh, and he's certainly extending the defenders. The back 3 are now being pressurised into mistakes.
Well, Cordoba, I think, got the header, and Congo found the ball flying across, tantalisingly close.
Yeah, it needed someone following up more quickly. You've got to anticipate that your forward's going to get it if you're a supporting player. And they waited in the action there instead of anticipating that he would get it, in which case, still staying onside, you would have had a chance to score, and young Edwin Congo could have done it.
On here, Colombia. I hope something drops for them. A direct route across from the far side. Cortez. Ramirez. Congo. And Chile will want to mark as tightly as that the remainder of this game.
Neste coming off.
One left-sided midfield player for another, although Nelson Acosta hasn't confirmed the substitution as yet. Cartes has to wait. Betancourt. Congo. Really funneling back in numbers. Their strategy generally is based around that. It's been a lesson today, maybe a painful one for Javier Alvarez. His formula hasn't produced the dividends as yet, but there's still time. And they've carved out an opening here. Well, if they fail to get an equaliser, that moment will haunt Colombia. Congo ends up in the net, but the ball doesn't.
Great overlapping run with a superb cross, but hit the post. But Congo, you again feel might have been there in time.
In comes Quintana.
And you wonder about Congo not anticipating it again. That's twice I feel they might have done better, but the ball looked as though it was going in fairness, and they rather delayed.
My goodness, we're dealing with very fine margins here in Luque today.
Yeah, great play by Quintana here, overlapping on the right-hand side. Coming from an onside position, there was perhaps doubt about the others, but there was no question of him being offside, and he did exceptionally well. I think goalkeeper Marcelo Ramirez has twisted himself trying to save that one, and he's in genuine pain.
Listen to the Chilean supporters who are in tremendous voice. The nation that took part in the first recognised match in the inaugural South American tournament back in 1916. They lost to Uruguay, whom they will now meet if they can just see it through here. They've been runners-up 4 times, most recently in 1987, when again Uruguay stood in their way. Nelson Tapia, who was the first choice goalkeeper for Chile in the World Cup finals in France, wondering whether he's going to be needed in the Copa America, having to play backup to this point to a goalkeeper who has performed plenty of heroics and deserved his #1 billing, Marcelo Ramirez.
It's not that bad, surely.
He'll be able to say in years to come, I was there.
Yeah. And I enjoyed the match. You take a chance if you've got an injury with your goalkeeper in a vital stage of the game. You're keeping him on, so they must be convinced of his fitness, because there will be no problem bringing on the replacement keeper.
8 minutes to go.
This man's terrific skill. He turns people, he lays it off, and yes, the layoff was well intended, but Pizarro was fouled.
Pizarro, for a young man, has a reputation as a very strong character. Maybe that's why he's been picked out to come into the game in these circumstances. He's got plenty of ability as well, to take the free kick. Bermudez. But González gets the better of it. Still González for Chile. Half thinking about staying in the corner.
And you notice when they got a free kick there, they didn't bring the men up from the back. Even the 2-goal man Reyes stayed. So they're really content, I think, with this 1-goal lead, and they're just going to try to play out time, keep possession as they're doing. And having lost it, they will be got it back again. This is very clumsy stuff. It's untidy at the moment.
Maybe a product of Colombian tension. All the pre-match publicity was favouring them for victory, just as it was for Paraguay yesterday, and they couldn't match the task ahead of them. Barros. He's prepared to come forward. Pizarro. Got a trick or two in his repertoire and wanted to show them off here to an international audience. Zamorano. Oh, that's great play from him! And another opportunity for González to sew it all up.
And another superb save, no question of that. Wonderful save from Palermo there.
What a game. And Colombia are still in it. But they cannot find the touch in front of goal. Again, Congo found wanting, but Zamorano put it on a plate.
Yeah, just invited him to side-foot it into the net. That was the easiest of chances. We talk about Salas not being there, but González and Zamorano are a very, very formidable front two.
Chile, 5 minutes or so away from a place in the semi-finals of Copa America '99. Learned to expect the unexpected here in Paraguay. And Colombia, well playing by Ramirez, the goalkeeper, who was labouring a moment or two ago. Another great run by Quintana. He's a 20-year-old, as I said earlier, named in the All-Star 11 from the group matches, and he has been one of the few Colombian players who's played up to potential today. I wouldn't bet against him changing clubs in the near future to his financial betterment.
I agree with that. He's playing very much like Cafu for Brazil, timing his runs forward to perfection and getting good balls across. And he has been the shining light, I would say, in the Colombian team today.
It's interesting that Nelson Acosta has decided to take González off the forward, replaced by Claudio Núñez, who had a moment of magic against Brazil when he earned the penalty, which González then saw his shot very well saved by the Brazilian goalkeeper Dida. They delayed that substitution with a check on the condition of Marcelo Ramirez. Pizarro.
Yeah, Marcelo Ramirez confirmed his fitness when he made that great save just a couple of minutes ago. Any doubt about him being fully recovered from the injury would have cost a goal to Chile, I'm sure, but he was down smothering the shot very well, as if nothing had happened to him.
It's clumsy from Congo. It's used up more time that Colombia can ill afford to give away. Costa pointing to the corner and saying, get the ball in there and run down the clock.
That's where they want it, yes.
Pizarro, with the impetuosity of youth, believes there's a better way of solving these problems by making it 4-2, or helping make it 4-2.
He's done very well. I think that was worth a foul, but no free kick awarded. But his idea was to keep it in the corner, but no support came to help him to do an odd 1-2 in the corner there to keep possession. But you can see what's in the minds of the Chilean players now. Just make sure we don't concede anything stupid, get the ball into the corner flag if we can, and play out time.
But at this stage, yesterday, Peru lost a 3-2 lead and then lost the penalty shootout. That was wave after wave of Mexican pressure. That hasn't been the same from Colombia.
No, they seem very lacklustre, surprisingly so. Once or twice they've burst into action, particularly down the right side, but Quintana only has been a threat.
Looking to that vehicle again, Betancourt. Again, they're stopped in their tracks. Well, do you think there might be a stigma finishing third in the group to qualify? But it hasn't been the case for Uruguay, and it looks as though it's not going to be the case for Chile. And one of those two third-place nations, if it stays like this, will be in the final.
Again,
Miguel Ramirez gets a yellow card for time wasting.
Foolishly conceded to yellow. You build up yellows doing that. That's crazy, because he could have put the ball into the corner without wasting anything like that amount of time. And again, I just feel that Zamorano there was quite happy to play it into the crowd. But we've got the multiple ball system, and he's probably forgotten that because the goal kick was taken very quickly.
With two M Ramirez's in the Chile side, they're known as G and P, so don't get confused if you think we're giving their wrong first names. There's been very little wrong with Chile here, certainly compared to the way they performed in their group matches. Maybe they're pacing their approach leading up to a grand finale here in Paraguay, where now within stoppage time of reaching the semi-finals, Colombia might still carve out one last chance, but only if they can win the ball in this part of the pitch, and Zamorano says, you're not going to get it from me.
he's a team coach's dream, Zamorano, the amount of work he does when needed. When you're a goal up, defending it, he's back in midfield, fighting for everything. Excellent.
The direct route from Cordoba. And again, Chile get their challenge in. Lozano. But he's lost out, and Chile have got 3 players forward here. Nunez slips away from Cortez. No last chance for Zamorano.
I think Martin Chile are going to peak at the right time. They're just gradually easing their way through this tournament, and they can go into the semi-final now with confidence. A consistent selection brings consistent performances, and there have been improving performances, I suggest. This is probably better than they've done in the group game so far.
And it's been good enough. A truly dramatic recovery by Chile, and it's taken them through to the semi-finals against Colombia, who had played so well in the group stage and won all their games. When Chile were labouring in theirs, they were 1-0 down, they were 2-1 down, but 2 goals from Reyes, and then the big man himself, Ivan Zamorano, got the winning goal, 3-2 to Chile.
And our thanks to Craig Brown and to Martin Tyler. So the team first to score has been knocked out in each of the 3 quarter-finals so far. Lots still to come. Stay with us. Brazil against Argentina, the big one still ahead. Graham Souness, Chris Waddle and Steve McMahon are the team here in the studio tonight. Here's the story of this game, gentlemen. Did it improve, Steve, for you second half?
Yes, a little bit. Yeah, very positive, I think. Colombia, especially second half. When he went a goal behind, he seemed to be a better team for it.
Dream start for Colombia through Bolano, Chris. Yeah, but it wasn't to last.
No, they've played like the old Colombian away. I mean, the tempo was good, don't get us wrong, but they haven't strung a lot together. Like, they're very undisciplined defensively, set pieces, every ball in the box, like the goal there. They've been all over the shop. They haven't deserved anything tonight.
Everything we've seen so far, even in this story of the match, bears out your point before we started tonight, Graham. You can't just throw players in and out and expect it all to fall into place.
If you went to any team manager, and national team manager, and said, look, what's the biggest problem with your job? They would all say we don't have the players together enough. We don't play enough games. And then when you've got an opportunity in a competition like this to keep the same system, keep the same team, and he's going to change to 8 players, it's wrong. It's wrong.
You feel he's got his just resort?
He's paid the price. I mean, that's not the only reason, but he's paid the price because they were very disjointed at times. So any ball played in the box tonight by Chile were causing Colombia problems.
Well, look at this one. That's the same guy who's supposed to be picking him up who scored the first goal. And it's the same guy who's supposed to be picking up. It's happened again.
Zamorano.
And for me, Zamorano, you know, last year at the World Cup, everyone was talking about Salas. But I preferred him. You know, he had just gone on a big money transfer, the interest from Manchester United. But if you ever go and see Zamorano play live in a game, just watch him. Watch the work he puts in. He's a special player.
I think Salas has learnt a lot off him though, because to be fair with Salas, he does work very hard himself.
Yeah.
I think they complement each other very, very well. I think, to be fair, he's a good teacher, and I think Salas has picked a lot up from him.
You know, it's very easy. I actually tried to buy Zamorano last year for Benfica and Lisbon, but there was no way getting him out into Milan. He's very unlucky because he's at a big club full of stars and he doesn't get enough games, and he's a real player.
Are they going to peak at the right time, as Craig Brown suggested, do you think?
Well, they've got good players, and I just felt that Colombia had that one good result against Argentina, and everyone, I think, were saying very nice things about them, and not correctly so.
So Chile against Uruguay then for the semi-final, the first one. We're still to resolve the second one, of course. How do you see that, Steve, Uruguay-Chile now?
Well, I think Chile have got to be favourites. You've got Salas coming back as well. And as we explained before, with the work rate out of them two is phenomenal. And if they can do that, produce their goods, I'd fancy Chile for the final now, definitely.
2 further thoughts, Chris, for you about the Chileans. Again, as demonstrated in the World Cup, and at the end of the game tonight, you saw the team spirit. There's a togetherness in the group that's carried them through.
The last 2 or 3 years, they've got it together, and so the front two have seemed to spur everybody on. And Uruguay will have to be at their very, very best if they're going to beat Chile.
Marcelo Salas should be back in that starting lineup for Chile for that one.
It's a big game to come in a semi-final. He'd be looking forward to it. He probably didn't think he was going to get to a semi-final.
But they're great players, Paul, aren't they? And the art of it is still have to work hard. And that's the secret of great players. Is okay, they're talented, But with the talent, it's got to come hard work, and that's exactly what they've got.
Did Chile deserve the victory in this one for you, Steve?
Just about, yeah, definitely. Chances either end, but yeah, I think Chile deserved it.
You were very critical at half-time, Graham, of the overall standard of defending when teams didn't have the ball. You were not impressed by them in the first period. Did you think it got better second half?
No, I thought Colombia I felt played their best football when they were behind. Later on in the game, they were starting to chase the game, and they were having lots of possession on about the Chile box. But again, they were still vulnerable to the counter-attack. I don't think, looking at them, they've done any work on the defensive side of the game. I think they were a group of players, individually very good. They were thrown out there. This is Colombia. They were thrown out there to play football with not any real thought to how they were going to defend collectively.
Not good enough at this level, as I'm sure we're about to find out. The big one is coming next. It's Brazil against Argentina. Brazil have set the standard for the rest, as you might expect so far, with Ronaldo coming back to his peak. But Argentina dug it out against Uruguay when needed, and they have the temperament to do it again.